Now they can. Okay. No, between that.
The other thing is yet to come up. And we hear her. The speaker you used on that day. Where is the speaker? Speaker collected from which
How to that speaker is not working fine that day, guy. Remote.
On Africa. So it's really an amazing program. It's come along here. We're really grateful to a partner. And so the 8 years during the African Memory Week is set up there as a company that innovates by creating games, trivia, and educational materials, helping youth and families to discover Africa. In 2009, the African Memory Game, the first game was very successful and received several awards, such as the award of creativity by the Africa Center in Maryland. A copy of the African Memory Game was sent to the White House and released to the Obama family, and so that Obama received them. Oh, that's this is what they knowing that Obama. So that was the and she also had invitations to the White House and the African leader of the diaspora. So the African Memory Game has 2 releases of 6,500 copies and 500 copies sold in Africa. So it's really helpful. And the collect invented in Africa. After that, several cards in the world focusing by regions and countries to deepen our knowledge to those countries. So let's go West Africa, let's go East Africa. These are some of the games that she plays. And African Memory Picture from Nigeria, someone from Nigeria, for Ghana, for Ethiopia, for Senegal, South Africa, Mali, Cameroon, Kenya, and Nigeria. So in 2015, Colette and the former Minister of Foreign Affairs from Liberia, the Minister of Commerce and the Industry of Liberia, upon meeting her, was impressed by the game. We thought about transforming her book on the growing of Africa's emerging leadership into an education working. We have been working together very close collaboration. And we will use the light leaders open debate on many topics facing the African youth today. So it's an amazing book that brings a lot of discourse and discussion on the development of Africa. We are pleased to have the partner, we're pleased to have the program, the game here, and you are welcome to participate in as well. I'd like to have a stand up and give a round of applause. So we are really pleased to have
that you meet.
we are really pleased to have Vivian Gonzalez joining us from the WSA 9. Thank you so much. Share with us about you before we bring her on. Can you all hear me, Jacob?
We can't hear you.
Hey!
That's this far. Let's and let me tell them that we cannot hear them. So if we can't hear you,
And the U.S. Senate Regulation Gallery and her took her back to the neighborhood. It has had 5 years constructing the region, working at several stations in Massachusetts and Rhode Island. During that time, she had the privilege of covering a number of national stories, including the station nightclub fire in Rhode Island that claimed 100 lives and historic vote on gay marriage involvement, the first vote of its kind. Before returning to the nation's capital, Lydia spent 4 years in Baltimore, where she is named Baltimore the best for 2009. Here's a profile of a woman and brother living in a home with no electricity or running water, brought them in a safe shelter. Her reporting on the homeless is and the United Families. Lydia is passionate about reporting the facts, challenging status quo, and telling compelling stories at the heart of our community. Lydia is a first generation American born, veteran. Valuable lessons, faith, of hard work. So welcome, this meeting in our backyard, and we're pleased to have you. Welcome, and welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. It's actually a little closer to 5 p.m. there. Something magical about waving your flag, of owning your heritage, of being proud of who you are and where you come from. The bio that Gazomi read was wonderful and highlights some accomplishments in my career, but really what is at the root of who I am and what I do is my African heritage. Woo! And my family, give it up for Africa. So I am a proud daughter of Africa. I'm first generation Cape Verdean American. My parents came here as immigrants,
in 1969, moved to Massachusetts, raised 3 children with the dream of accomplishing what was beyond their imaginations and their dreams growing up. But they also instilled in us the strength, the resilience, and the sacrifice of our native people in our country, our homeland, and the pride that comes with knowing who you are. And so now that my daughters are second generation, they have the privilege of becoming dual citizens, and can become citizens of Cape Verde Islands as well. And so I encourage all of you to trace your roots, know your history.
That's right.
And go back and talk to the forefathers and the foremothers who paved the way for us to stand the ground that we are walking on today. It is my privilege to be here again. As Tony said, this is my second year here. And it's always a lovely event. Kicked off with a wonderful parade, but this really is going to be a wonderful afternoon with wonderful presentations from scholars in Nigeria, scholars here in Washington, D.C., understanding each other's cultures, and there is a wonderful resource and books and market and vendors that are available in the marketplace upstairs in the pavilion. So I hope everyone had an opportunity to do that as well. Chat with everyone, get some information, broaden your world. And that's what this day is all about. To understand that we are in a community, even though we may feel like this is such a broad world and we are so different, we are alike because we are all human beings and we all have the same goals and passions and purpose and mission in our lives. And so we're hoping to build that connection today and hopefully allow you to reconnect and understand that reaching out to your neighbor, learning about different cultures is not as difficult as we may think it is, and it actually broadens and enriches our lives. So we have some wonderful readers today who will be offering some readings of books that will help enrich our lives and help us realize that the arts certainly can change the narrative on Africa. So changing that narrative and perspectives happens daily, especially through the arts, through stories told through different forms of art. So today, we will learn from listening to several guest readers as they read from different books that each have their unique perspective. So I believe we have our first reader here, Dr. Gina Page. You can just raise your hand. Is Dr. Page with us? Okay. So we're going to move forward and we're going to go right into our presentation. So this marks the second year that the Teaching Africa Day program has brought together students from different parts of the world to interact and engage peer-to-peer on a live stream. So y'all understand, a live stream all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. It's not only one of commitment, but two, a great accomplishment and privilege to have these scholars joining us this afternoon. So we will hear from the scholars from King's College located in Lagos, Nigeria shortly, and we also have presentations from students from Culture at Home, a homeschool here in Washington, D.C. Let's give these scholars a round of applause. As I mentioned, as you heard, the theme for TAC this year is changing the narrative through the arts. With this theme in mind, the assignment we gave the students was to use a visual arts platform to think of an ideal way to introduce their cities to one another from their own personal perspective. They had to include a historic fact, share the reason why they chose those specific images that we'll see shortly, The students chose the medium of photography to creatively express what they love most about their city. So again, we have with us today alumni from King's College, and we'd like to use this moment before we get to the presentations to hear some brief remarks from Ogo Nwebwana, who is the current Vice President of the King's College Old Boys Association of North Africa. Please, round of applause, welcome him to the stage.
Hi everybody. Welcome, I would say, to this great collaboration. King's College North America, I'm the Vice President of the group. Our President is in Nigeria for King Week. Another celebration happening there. So the kids are being pulled out of that to join the event there. So we really appreciate all that they've done to put this together. We thank the teachers and the tech group over there, Kayode and Ifi, for helping us out with putting this together. We want to thank our Tony and team as well for really making this work, right? Because this is an idea that we think can foster a longer relationship and an exchange of know-how, right, between us and the group in Nigeria. So, without further ado, we just want to say thank you, and thank you all for being here, and we hope this is a fun event, and we hope to see more of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nwebwana. Another round of applause. And forgive me for not mentioning the always fabulous students from Duke Ellington University, the Duke Ellington School of the Arts. I just elevated y'all. I just elevated you all to college. That is the expectation we have for all of you, is to excel and be your absolute best. So Duke Ellington School of the Arts is here as well, and they'll be presenting shortly. So our order of presentations, of course, we're going to let our scholars and our colleagues over in Nigeria present first, and then we'll speak to the folks from Culture at Home, and then our students from Duke Ellington will present last. And so let's start the presentations. So I'm going to turn our attention to the video screen, the monitors here, and our friends and Lagos from King's College, if you could introduce yourself and begin your presentations, you have our full attention.
I think that's in the video.
Wonderful technician.
Yes, it's not clear. You can hear it, but it's not clear. Okay.
Do we want to pivot?
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Wonderful, we hear you.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, this is King's College, Lagos.
Yes, we hear you. Continue.
What does it? My name is
My name is Akande Joao.
My name is Oke Abdurrahman. I'm sorry, we couldn't hear you before.
Listen to your presentation.
It's a bit better now, but we can't still hear you.
Should I just off the generator? Should I off the generator first?
We're not serious.
Okay. Hello? Hello? Okay, it's a bit better now.
Yes.
I am Oke Abdurrahman.
I am Akinte Joao.
I'm Badijo Kiles.
I am Mboko Ejimuma.
Amadi Ibubi.
I'm Balogun Adelusi.
Okay, my name is Oluwakade George. I am the IT instructor here. Thank you very much.
Hello,
You're not
I'm Ifi Ozuzu, Vice Principal Special Duties, Honest.
Can we go on with our presentation? Yes. Hello? Please, can we go on with our presentation? Yes. Okay. So, okay, can I have the first slide, please? Should we present from here? Or you present? Okay. Can we have the first slide, please? Okay. This is the presentation from King's College, Lagos on Teaching Africa Day. And the theme is changing the narrative through art. The historical timeline of Lagos before colonization. In 1472, Rei de Sequeira, a Portuguese, sorry please, I can't see the slides clearly. This is a presentation from King's College, Lagos. And today is Teaching Africa Day. The theme is changing the narrative through arts. The historical timeline of Lagos before colonization. In 1472, Rui de Sequeira of Portugal names the area Lagos, Lago de Coramo. In 1600, Ashipa becomes the Oba of Lagos. In 1851, the British bombard Lagos and begin to set on their colonial conquest. In 1859, the CMS Grammar School in Bariga, in a suburb of Lagos in Lagos State, is founded on 6th June 1859 by the Church Missionary Society. In 1861, Lagos is annexed by the British, and the following year, Lagos becomes a British colony. These are some fun facts about Lagos State. Lagos was given by the Portuguese, and it stands for Lakes. Lagos is the most populous city in Nigeria. The traditional name in Yoruba is Eko. Lagos is also a state and a metropolitan area, and it has 20 local government areas. The Third Mainland Bridge in Lagos State is the second longest in the African continent. These are some monuments in Lagos State. Freedom Park. Freedom Park, the Memorial and Leisure Park in downtown Lagos. It was formerly Her Majesty's Broad Street Prison. It was designed by the architect Theo Lawson, and it was used to house political dissidents. It was transformed and officially opened to the public in the year 2010, and it features some monuments dedicated to freedom fighters and activists who struggled for the country's democracy. Bembe drums. The first picture on your right-hand side contains the photographs of the Bembe drums. They are cylindrical drums with double skins, and these are some of them that we found in Freedom Park. These are also some other pictures in Freedom Park. The one on the left-hand side at the bottom left corner is the Afo Okuta, which is used to depict the Stone Age, in which Yoruba men were able to cut stone using the tools. The next monument is Tafawa Balewa Square. Tafawa Balewa Square is a 14.5 hectare ceremonial ground, originally called the Race Course in Lagos Island, Lagos State, which is where my school is situated. The entrance to the square has gigantic sculptures of 4 white horses hovering above the gates, which depicts dignity, and 7 red eagles, which depict strength. It is named after Nigeria's first Prime Minister, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa. It holds historical significance as it was the original location of Nigeria's first National Assembly before it was moved to Abuja in 1991. Then these are the pictures. This is the picture of Tafawa Balewa Square containing the eagles and the horses. The Eyo Masquerades. The first procession of the Eyo Masquerades was in Lagos State on the 20th February 1854 to commemorate the life of the Oba Akintoye. Eyo celebrates a king's life, and they also celebrate his death. They are also used to commemorate the election of a new leader. This is Tinubu Square, the third monument on our list. It's an open space landmark, and it was named after the Yoruba slave trader, Madam Efunroye Tinubu. It contains a life-size statue of Madam Tinubu on a cenotaph. This is Madam Tinubu on the right-hand side, and this is the entrance to Tinubu Square, now called Independence Square. Today, it stands as a bustling area in Lagos Island, near important government and financial institutions, not just reflecting its historical significance, but also its modern relevance. Next. The statues of Orisha in Tinubu Square, they are a sacred number, 400+1, and they're found their way by Atlantic slave trade. These are also some artifacts in the National Museum, the crowd of the Oba of Lagos, and some drums. Now we have the history and the impacts of Nollywood. Nollywood is a portmanteau of Nigeria and Hollywood. A portmanteau is a combination of two different words that give us a deeper meaning to it. It originally refers to the Nigerian film industry, and I guess this video will help you explain more on Nollywood. Okay. Okay. This is the video on the impact of Nollywood. Okay, the video on the slide you're supposed to play. The one on page. The one on page 20. Yes. The one on page 20. There's a video there you're supposed to play. Yes, that's it. Okay, play the video. Off it. Please play the video. Okay. I don't think they can hear what is on the video. They're just saying it. They cannot hear it. They cannot hear the audio of the video. Okay. These are the Lagosian. Okay. Lagosian legends. Please, if the video can't play, go to the next slide. The one of Lagosian legends. They're still showing the video there. Okay. Lagosian legends. Abike Dabiri Erewa. Okay. She's a prominent Nigerian politician and a public servant. Before entering politics, she had a successful career in journalism. And one of her notable roles was the chairman or CEO of Nigerians in Diaspora Commission after being appointed by President Muhammadu Buhari. All these qualities make her an excellent role model for the youth, which is why we admire her and want to follow in her footsteps. Now, Wole Soyinka, playwright, novelist, author, and poet. He was the first African to receive the Nobel Prize for Literature, and he was also noted for the first attempt of a ceasefire during the Nigerian Civil War, which took place from 1967 to 1970. Principles of greatness. We have identity, vision. What do you plan to achieve? Where are you going? When do you intend to get there? What are the pictures of your desires? We have power, work, the activity into which effort is put to get a desired result. We have planning, choice, limits, fellowship, alignment. We should ensure that our values and our goals are aligned with each other and aligned with our core beliefs. Thank you. That was a presentation from King's College Lagos on Africa and the historic monuments in our city. Thank you.
Thank you to the scholars of King's College at Lagos, Nigeria, and around the world. Maintaining their professionalism throughout the technical glitches. So, kudos to all of the scholars. Job well done. And I believe we all learned a lot about Lagos and the history. And on the side note, those Portuguese conquerors, right? Those Portuguese colonists were everywhere. email, contact me, guys. Okay. All right, so now, and forgive me for even introducing culture at home, because I understand now that those people are not with us, but we do have, and we're excited to be joined by scholars from Duke Ellington, who will now present, and following their presentations, we will have a short Q&A where people get to interact, barring any additional technical difficulties, but we will have students from King's College here to react and interact with the students from Duke Ellington. So Duke Ellington, are y'all ready? Yes. Come on up, the floor is yours. Put your hands together, Duke Ellington. Okay, can everyone hear me? Yeah. So, this will just be a line like this. I'm my name is Holly Wingo, and I'm a sixth-generation Washington. So basically, my mom and grandmother and so forth are all from Washington.
Oh, sorry.
And split it up into the 4 quadrants. So over here, to handle things a good way to get healthy food. It's like so what we have this is a mural from H. This is also this picture was taken on H. Like a lot of activity and like for social gatherings and stuff like that. Well, the last picture tell us about the significance of the picture of your home. So I just wanted to give everyone like an idea of like what DC looks like, not just like the monuments or like the popular streets, but like the everyday homes, like the one I live in. But the one I live in. That's great. That's wonderful because most people, when they think of DC, they think of the big monuments. Yeah. And they don't know about the neighborhoods and the uniqueness of all the neighborhoods. Right. So I actually live on Rhode Island Avenue, where it's like the big street, like a street that runs like almost directly through DC. It's a lot of traffic. Like I live on like one of the row houses, and that's my house right there. It's been in my family since like my great grandmother. Wow. So yeah. Next slide, please. So again, I thought it would be easier to like demonstrate the culture of DC because that's one of the things that if you meet someone from DC, they'll get really into the culture of DC. So like, and the food, we have like staples like mumbo sauce is a really big thing here. And like around Urban Court, you'll see like a Chinese carryout place, which is like, I know a lot of people who are familiar with those. It's kind of like a staple among people here. Up here is just like an example of something that you would get from like the wharf, usually like a seafood dish, like oysters, fish and chips, stuff like that. Oh, and also there's Mid's Chili Bowl, which is like another staple restaurant in DC. And on the side actually brings me to over here. I mentioned before, murals are a big thing in DC. They're painted on like every other building. And this one is the one painted on the side of Ben Shelley Bowl with a bunch of famous black icons. So Prince is a musician, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, the first black president, and so on. This is just a picture of another mural. I think I pass this like every other day. Another big part would be the museums and the Smithsonian, and like the downtown area, which everyone is like mostly familiar with. It has the Capitol, the downtown mall, and like the Smithsonian. The Natural History Museum is my favorite museum because you get to see like pinned up illustrations of like animals, like dinosaur bones, and like the giant elephant that you see when you first walk in. So yeah, next slide. So these are just like pictures from my everyday life, like my family, what I do at school. I go to Gallatin in the Museum Studies department. So we have like a gallery. We have a gallery space where we can put up exhibitions. And this is a picture I took of us just like in the process of putting up one of those. Just like me hanging out with my friends. Again, like in museum studies, working on different projects. This is outside of our school. We actually have a giant chair outside of our school. I think it's a donated artwork. And then just a picture I took of the Capitol or the monument. That's it. Well done, thank you. Do we have another presentation from Duke? Come on up. Another round of applause for our second presenter. Okay, I'm giving you a mic to say your name and you can start with your presentation. And stand over to
Hello, my name is Alicia Marti. I'm in 11th grade and I'm in the Museum Studies Department at Duke Ellington. I guess I'd be third generation Washingtonian because my mom is an immigrant from Grenada and she moved to New York and then she came to DC for college. She went to Howard University and I think she's been here since. And my grandparents are both immigrants from Nigeria, and my dad was born in DC. And has been here ever since. Okay, this is Chili Balls, and it's a very iconic restaurant in DC. I actually went there for the first time a few months ago, and obviously it's known for its chili. I think it was chili on fries, and it was really good. And this is one of the many museums in DC. It's the National Gallery of Art. I went there around Christmas time with my dad last year. I don't think there's any windows, and usually when I'm in a building or with no windows, I feel kind of nervous or enclosed, but there was lots of art and very beautiful architecture, so I guess it kind of made up for the windows. And this was in downtown DC last year during Christmas. Every year there's this huge tree, and there's like many trees around it that represent each state, and each year we go, and I really like it because it's always beautiful. This is my school, Gallatin School of the Arts. And this was actually after a good exhibit. I think this was last year. And I guess the light was really nice, so I just took a photo. This was, I think, 2 years ago. This was in downtown DC. I think, like, right here. I think that's the African American Museum, but I don't really know. This was around springtime. Usually during springtime you can see the cherry blossoms bloom each year. My family. I didn't go last year, but hopefully next year. This is the Lancaster Catholic School. Most students take the D2 bus, and usually I do, but every now and then when it's late, I like to walk to DuPont. So this was a photo that I took on my walk. This was a photo I took at the African American Museum, and it was an exhibit on Afrofuturism, last year one, and I don't remember the name of the exact piece, but I really liked it because it looked really interesting to me. I've never really seen anything like it before. It's pretty cool how it's like mini statements and stuff. This is the Washington Monument. It's like pretty sure the most famous monument in DC, and if I'm not mistaken, it's actually the tallest monument. And then lastly is the Library of Congress. I don't really know that much about the Congress, but it's really big, and I think that you need a card.
Well done. Round of applause. Round of applause. Is that our final presentation from Duke? Oh, well then, come on. Don't be shy. Sasha's not here. Do we have someone else who's ready to present? Drew Wilson and Addison. And Addison Fleming.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
My name is Andrew Wilson, just go by Drew.
I'm Addison. You can still call me Addison.
And we're from the illustrious Duke Ellington School of the Arts. And here we are presenting our DC. Well, we just want to say, to our peers in Lagos, welcome to the heart of the United States, Washington, D.C. Nestled on the beautiful eastern seaboard, our vibrant city is often described as a living museum, of American history and politics. Our nation's capital, D.C., is not just a city. It's an experience with its iconic monuments, world-class museums, and a rich cultural tapestry. Museums. Washington, D.C. is a place where the past, present, and future converge in a captivating way.
Okay. Washington, D.C. is home to some of the most iconic landmarks in the world. The Washington Monument stands as a tribute to George Washington, our first president. The Lincoln Memorial is a statue of Abraham Lincoln symbolizing freedom and equality, and the breathtaking Jefferson Memorial pays homage to Thomas Jefferson and his contributions to American democracy.
Beyond its political significance, Washington, D.C. is a hub of culture and diversity. I just want to say my city is beautiful. My city is chocolate city. I love my city. I would say that the Wards we're a family in a way. We're all different. We go to different parts of DC, different streets. But it's still, we're all a people. All in the same city, all taxation without representation. All of the on all of the license plates. But I think something about growing up in DC is truly figuring out what that means and truly figuring out what it means to be a Washingtonian. Growing up in DC. So next slide. My name is Andrew Wilson. As I said, I'm an 18-year-old attending Duke Ellington School of the Arts for Brown Trade in Museum Studies, as well as perfecting my visual arts craft. I'm a visual artist as well. We'll get more into that deeper into the presentation. My grandmother basically raised me, and my inspiration is Basquiat. That's the reason that I made.
Okay, and I'm Addison Fleming. I also go to Duke Ellington, and I'm in the Museum Studies department. But, so I'm a native to DC. My mom and my dad are natives to DC. And I
East with my parents and my siblings. And my dad's an artist and works at a museum. So I just grew up in a creative environment. I was immersed in it from a young age. And, that's it. I'm sorry. No, that's it.
I can't talk about DC without talking about my mom. She's the reason that I'm in DC. My dad, I'm actually technically a first generation DC because my dad's from Memphis and my mom grew up here actually. So she's the whole reason that we're here. She moved us from Memphis, Tennessee to Washington, DC because she said, I'm not raising my kids here. I'm going to raise my kids in DC. So, she kind of pushed me to do whatever. My entire life she raised me and she said, I don't care what you do, just be the best at it. So that's just kind of pushes me to do whatever, I really want to do. I've always been kind of had that mindset my entire life. As well as an artist, I'm also a scientist as well, deeply involved in environmental sciences. So.
And this is me and my dad, James Fleming, a true Washingtonian and a gifted artist. He has been an unwavering source of inspiration throughout my whole life. Growing up in the city, brimming with creativity and culture, he installed a deep appreciation for art and power. And as Drew said, my dad has just been a very big inspiration for me my whole life because he just, like I said, immersed me in the life of just art and creativity and just made me really believe I can do whatever I want to do if I put my mind to it. And just growing up seeing his art and how hard he worked on his pieces that he would make really just showed me, as a Black woman, I can do whatever.
To get into my beautiful side of Washington, D.C., I grew up in Brooklyn, Washington, D.C. It's honestly a privilege, I would say, growing up in Brooklyn. I see compared to different parts of DC, so I'm extremely lucky. It's just, of course, regarding what the slide says, it's a unique experience. It's dealing with rapid gentrification and here's some very important parts of, Brooklyn. The top picture right there is Brooklyn. That's the main street in Brooklyn. You see the metro station right there. And then I was raised Catholic. So the Franciscan monastery is an extremely important part of who I am. It's right down the street from my house, so I was raised just kind of going there. And then the Brooklyn Arts Walk actually is pretty new. It's an object of gentrification kind of person that's over there, but it's still really cool. It has really cool opportunities for young individuals like me anyways. So, and I say it's not what gentrification does, it's what it can do for me. So I decided to, use those resources the best way I can.
So I live right in between DC and Maryland. I live in Tacoma Park. And growing up in Tacoma is an amazing experience. It's very near to my heart. I always take my friends to Tacoma and show them around because it's such a deep little city and it's always been diverse. And all cultures and everybody lives there. And it's a very safe environment. Yes, a very safe environment. And it's so beautiful and pretty, and they have farmers markets every weekend, and it's just a beautiful space. I believe all y'all should come today.
So as I said, I'm a visual artist, multimedia visual artist. I consider myself very versatile, capable of navigating across various creative mediums. My artistic journey has been marked by a curiosity that knows no bounds, and an adaptability that allows me to express myself in different avenues. Whether it was the stroke of a paintbrush, which you can see on the right of the screen, all on the canvas, and then the intricate lines of the drawing, which you can see in the middle, which is more of an abstract piece. And then, of course, three-dimensional world of sculpture. I don't really do those that much. And then, of course, the limitless possibilities of digital design, which I was trained in, as I said, the illustrious Dartmouth School of the Arts. I do work on the side as well. That's a logo that I made for the podcast company as well. And so, I feel as though my art transcends the boundaries of individual mediums. themes, often merging elements from different realms to create pieces that are both captivating and thought-provoking. This flexibility and my constant quest to explore new artistic territories defines my identity as an artist, allowing me to connect with diverse audiences through the various creative languages that I speak. As well as I said, trained under museum studies and Ellington. I'm more disciplined in my art as well. So here, just kind of showing my process of a piece I did. This one actually is $800. And then right on the side here is just a sketch that I actually did in the back of this Tourette's class. And so and I just was getting it done. Everything you see here is by freehand.
Yeah, right here, these are some of my art pieces. I'm very basic when it comes to my art. I only like pencils or I just like seeing the depth I can get with a stroke of pencil or a mechanical pencil. And this is my piece from an exhibit called RDC. And it just represents how I see different stereotypes in these. And yeah, so these are some art.
In conclusion, Washington, D.C. for us stands as a remarkable city where history, culture, and diversity and innovation converge to get a truly unique experience. Its iconic landmarks, vibrant neighborhoods, and rich cultural heritage make it a destination by technology.
Thank you for letting us show us our amazing city. And thank you for teaching us about yours. And I hope y'all all enjoy the
Thank you. I'm double fisting it over here. Okay. Any other students from Duke? London Wright and Taylor Freeman. All right. Round of applause for London Wright and Taylor Freeman. Let's give them our attention. And here you go, ladies.
Hi, I'm Taylor Freeman. I'm London Wright, and this is our presentation about our life in DC. And our presentation is more it describes more about us personally than DC babies. So
we're gonna show you DC
through our experience. Yes. Okay, so I was technically born in Silver Spring, but the DC metropolitan area still goes into Maryland.
And then I was born in Seattle, Washington, and I moved to DC when I was 13. So most of my experiences are very fresh.
Yeah, but both of our families are from DC. I grew up in DC and Taylor family.
Yeah, my entire family is from DC, and my mom attended Harvard.
Okay, so these are a few of our favorite things that just living in DC has I don't know. Chipotle is everywhere in DC. So
and it's our favorite place.
Yeah, it's our favorite place. And going to Georgetown, we get Chipotle 10 minutes away from there. So yeah.
We also Googled it to see if you guys had access to Chipotle, and we just wanted to share this with you because we know that you might not have it.
Telfar is my favorite person, but I just feel living in DC gives you a different perspective with fashion and things like that. So
when I lived in Seattle, I never knew what a Telfar was. Then I came to DC, I see everybody walking around with Telfar, MCM bags, and Marc Jacobs tote bags, and I was just exposed to an entire new type of fashion I had never seen before.
And growing up in DC, I got exposed to a lot of museums and things like that. So okay, so this is our school, the Elsa School of the Arts. And we're both in the museum studies program. So I know that museum studies is only in DC, and they have one other program, one other high school program in Florida. So living in DC, you get something that you wouldn't get somewhere else. You can't get we also have access to all the Smithsonian museums here, which we take those trips to all the time, and it just makes like our learning experience so much better. Okay, so these are our friends. One of the best things about DC, like growing up in a predominantly white space, I never really felt like I had like friends and family who I could like trust in a real like community. And the second that I came to DC, I made the most amazing like people, community, friends, which have made my entire DC experience. Yeah, and growing up in DC, like going to school, like or like seeing people empowered with the things in color, like going to high school with a Black principal and Black teachers and Black art teachers that actually feel like they're part of the community and not just feeling like the all and out like space. So, and I know in the museum world you don't really get a lot of Black people in power, so it's like it's nice to be taught by somebody who. Okay, so this is daily life for people in Lagos. This is a national game that we could have went to like 2 weeks ago. And this is our first exhibit of the year. And I don't know if that's just play in Lagos, but this is me and Taylor on the way to school after we got to. The biggest thing about DC for us is the commute. Our school, we live in Southeast DC, and our school is in Northwest, so usually it takes about 35 minutes to an hour, depending on the time in the morning. So our commute to school is probably like one of the biggest parts of our life in DC. And even though it's actually only like 10 square miles, I think, it takes like sometimes forever in the morning to get places. And then as far as like the national game, I'm honestly a Mariners fan, but when I came to DC, I was like, I want to get like kind of immersed in DC culture, so I tried to go to like Commanders games and Mariners game after school. Okay, so this is more, the first two pictures are my pictures. So that the first picture of a concert is like a music festival that only happens in DC. So you can't really get like that specific. They have a lot of go-go bands and things like that. But they have celebrities, but you can't get like every go-go band in one place in DC, like other than that. And then that's just another picture of national games. And then last summer, I had the privilege of being an intern for the Smithsonian Center for Folk Life and Cultural Heritage, and which was on the Smithsonian Folk Life Festival. And I was on the Creative Encounters team, which was working on living religions in the U.S. And here are some pictures for the Folk Life Festival. It was on the National Mall, which is surrounded by all the Smithsonian museums. One of the ones we're in right now. And this was our ofrenda and pergola, which is sawdust, and used at weddings or celebrations. And these are just some museums that me and Taylor went to together. So the first one is the Rubel Museum, and we were there because one of our former teachers was opening up a new monument in Eastwood, Virginia, but like still like the metropolitan area. And then this is at the Glenstone, which is like technically Maryland, but it's still like Metro Festival, and it's like a giant state museum, and it has like it's wonderful. It's so hard to describe, but the Rubel Museum is super special because the chair of the department actually went there for elementary school, or no, that was her middle school. Middle school, and then find her running that her middle school got turned into a museum, and she came there and things like that. Yeah, and now it's a museum, and I was like, why? And then
Back on.
Thank you, ladies. I don't know what it is about Chick-fil-A, but like everybody is what is it about that? Maybe because DC didn't have a Chick-fil-A for so long, right? We resisted, and now they do make good chicken sandwiches. I know. All right, do we have another presentation? All right, let's give these ladies a round of applause. And if you can introduce yourselves, and then you can get right into your presentation.
Cool. Do you have two mics or just one? Why don't you get the other one? Cool. Oh wow, that is tiny. Okay, so I'm Sing Tong.
And I'm Zoe.
And we're like actually both freshmen, so we're pretty new to this. This is our presentation. Next slide, please.
Freshman. Also in the museum studies department.
Obviously. You know, next slide would be kind of nice. Sorry.
The audacity.
I think it's also because we did it on a PowerPoint and not Google Slides. So if there's any like technical difficulties, it's probably that. Oh, sure. You want to start?
Yes, so while they process through some of these issues, I think we can talk a bit about DC right now. I am from Northeast DC. I really love it, around Brookland. And I find it to be a very pleasant experience. There's a lot of, it's quite close-knit, I'd say. I feel like if you know someone from that area, you'll know like someone, I don't know how to describe it, but it's a really great place to grow up, I believe.
To what Zoe said, everyone in DC knows everyone else. So like if you met someone in DC, you're bound to bump into them sometime, like the metro, blah, 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 all that. And, ooh, our slide is gone. Okay, so I was going to show some of the photos that was already listed on there. I'll do it from memory. Oh, okay, well, that's not good. Okay. We can see this photo right here of the big green chair from Duke Ellington. That's me. I'm making my cameo. So from what they said, it was a donated art piece. I'll have to do more research into that. This was from one of the gardens I went to. It's the Aquatic Garden. It was a festival, and I really liked it. We took a lot of photos. It was really, really pretty. There was like stations and events. We tried teeth testing. There was like a martial arts thing going on. It was really cool. They took people from the audience to learn. And we also had like little art stations, arts and crafts. I made like a lotus flower lantern. I don't have it, but it's pretty cool. I think that's your slide.
Yeah, the center photo I took at one of several trips to the National Zoo. I think almost everyone in DC has been to the National Zoo, and they have really great like youth outreach programs. They have like if you're a member of the National Zoo, you can get involved in all these events. There's actually a big event they're doing with the pandas right now. I don't know, but they have a summer camp like this for summer camp for children at the zoo. The zoo is just, it's one of the things that like is very well known about DC, but it's also like you don't really know it until you like get the full experience, I'd say.
And do you think that's it?
If they don't have the other slides, then
yeah. Yeah, so we could end it here.
We're gonna end it here.
Okay.
Ladies, good job. Thank you, thank you. Anyone else? Another presenter from Duke Ellington. Okay, so we're going in order, and I hope everyone is taking note, and I hope our scholars in Lagos are still with us and can hear, because there is a portion of Q&A coming up, and I have some questions. So, mainly, you know, we didn't tell our friends what mumbo sauce is actually like. Like, what is mumbo sauce? And I'm surprised I only heard one reference to go-go. But I guess that's hard to capture in an image. But, you know, I'm a reporter, so I always have questions. Okay, do we have, who is here from Duke with the presentation ready to go? We have one more or two? Okay. All right, I think we have some folks who are working on that now. How long did it take for everyone to put their presentations together? Generally. 20 minutes? Now, I've noticed some pictures were pictures that have been taken along the route from the walk home from school, or just things that we casually do in our backyard. Is it a combination of pictures and images that you've had, or things that or new images that you found and put together for this presentation specifically?
Most of the images are like from my personal life and my photo album. So one of them was taken probably last week or so. And then some of the other ones are just over the years or just over with my school life. So a lot of it is mainly really consists of like my hobbies and things in DC, which hopefully you guys will see. But really, when I was given like the prompt for this assignment and opportunity, it was really like saying your life in DC, and like, you know, not really, at least for me, I didn't know that it was going to be more of like art and connectivity, but more so is my life in DC. So I was there. So I may not have like a lot of facts as presented by earlier presenters, which is very like mainly personal to my interests and hobbies while living in DC. And some of those photos, like some of them aren't in DC, but it is still my life which connects to DC, because at the end of the day, I will come home back to Washington, DC, and my hobbies and interests and other experiences will connect to my hometown, which is DC.
And it still tells a story.
Yes, which
whether
is
or not there's a narrative behind it.
museum studies, as we tell stories and we preserve them as well. And so I think that's really important to include.
What's your name, hon, and what year are
Amaya
you?
Butler, and I'm a third year.
Amaya?
Amaya, yes.
Okay. How about someone else? Georgia, we haven't heard from you yet. Sorry. I know Georgia's mom. That's the reason why I know her name, because I don't retain names well. I'm going to ask all of you lovely ladies and students to tell me your names one more time. But Georgia, tell me about, were you surprised not only by the images that you kind of put together, but how they spoke to you?
Like Amaya said, when we were given this prompt, we were given kind of the expectation that it would be about like of our day-to-day lives, or how we kind of went through things. So some photos are from, you know, previous school years, but most of them are like from when I went, or the last time I went, or some of them, like for example, I have a photo of the metro, which I travel every day. So I'll take photos sometimes because it's just so beautiful to sit back and watch how the world kind of passes you by. And I had a lot of fun putting it together, because like just looking at the small things that sometimes annoy me, like it's a long ride home and I'm ready to go home. But I love always just being able to listen to music and watch how people are going through their day-to-day lives, how they're just walking through the world, kind of observing how people dress, what people wear, how they carry themselves. It's really just also beautiful, and it's just one part of my day.
Finding the beauty in the mundane, right? In a long commute that could be monotonous, but finding the beauty in that, the time to relax, unwind, listen to music, and watch the world go by. I used to work the morning show many moons ago. We would wake up at 2:30 in the morning, be on the air by 4:30, and do live shot after live shot. So we would start our day in the dark, and I would slowly see Washington wake up. And that was my favorite part of that shift. Because if you were downtown, you could slowly see the sun rise over the monuments and Washington waking up, and the commuters and the runners. Now, I'm grateful for more sleep. Let's just say that. But you find the beauty in even, in the middle of the struggle. So tell me about what you think these images, and tell me if I'm stalling and we're ready to move on with something. Do we have the next slide? No slides. So we'll do this and then we'll go on to some more Q&A. Do we have our students from Lagos still with us? Okay, wonderful. So I want to toss this next question to them. Hold on to that microphone because they may ask a question. And bear with us because we know this is a long connection, right? And so we have to be a little patient to our scholars who have been joining us. King's College, can you hear us?
Yes, we can.
Wonderful. Did you have a question for some students here in Washington, D.C. about their presentations and some of the pictures that you saw that describe their life here in D.C.?
So, sir, please, this King's from King's College. We could not practically see what you guys presented, so we want to ask if you can do a recap of what you did. Even the branch that you're
So you weren't able to see the pictures?
Yes.
What are some questions you have for the students in Washington, D.C. about their life?
How did your city become the capital? Can you tell us the story behind it? That's what the accent. The accent was crazy.
Was that the question? How did D.C. become the capital?
Yes, yes.
That's a very good question. Does anyone know the answer to that very intelligent question? How D.C. became the nation's capital? Say your name and tell us the answer as you know it.
Okay. Hi, my name is Alexis Joseph. Now, you could fact check me on this, but as far as I know, the nation's original capital was Philadelphia because of how small the U.S. was during that time. It was only like on like the East Coast. That was like the entire country, the 13 colonies. And then when they expanded outward, basically they moved the capital to Washington, so it could be like a little bit closer to the middle of the country.
Very nice. Round of applause. And we have another hand raised. Can we pass the microphone up to the front? To the front, to the third row, second row. Say your name and your answer.
Okay, hi, my name is London, and I know that one of the reasons they chose Washington, D.C. was because it was chose around the slavery and when the war happened, like the Civil War. So they didn't want the capital to be in the north because they didn't want people who were sympathetic of slavery to have a lot of power if it was in the north. So they put it right in the middle because it's technically not in the south, but it's technically not in the north. So it could appease everybody.
Wonderful. Good job. Good answer. How about one more question from Lagos? I know it's been a long evening for you. One more question for the students here in Washington, D.C. about life, their experiences, and what being a student is like here in Washington, D.C. They're talking among themselves. Do you see that? They're going to stump you with another question, another good one, because that first question was a good question.
How does it feel schooling in the capital, in Washington, D.C.? How does it feel?
How are you able to hear that? Way over there. Maybe because the speaker is pointing in that direction. I'm behind the speaker. How does it feel living in the nation's capital? So I'm going to stay behind the speakers because I think I'm the one who's giving out some feedback. Can you pass that microphone back to your colleague? What does it feel like to live in the nation's capital?
My name is Sanal Johnson, and I've been a resident of DC for about 11-ish years, and gets to a point where you honestly become almost desensitized to some of the sites. In 7th grade, I used to go past the Washington Monument and Capitol like it was nothing because on my way back to school. And, you know, during tourist season, which is about spring, you just see a bunch of people from all across the state and a bunch of schools, and you kind of think about how you kind of used to how you are used to a bunch of capitals and monuments and museums, because we have the Washington Monument, the Thomas Jefferson, well, no, not Thomas Jefferson, sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry. The Jefferson Memorial, you have the Lincoln Memorial too, you have the Washington Monument, you have the nation capital too, you have the White House, and you have all of these other places, and you're just in the middle of all of that, and you just kind of go past it while you're walking to school, and you barely even think about it. So that's what it kind of feels like to live in the capital.
I think sometimes we take it for granted that everyone from around the world comes to our backyard and probably thinks it's the most amazing city in the whole world. And we walk by these monuments every day. That was a wonderful question, King's College. Thank you so much for joining us. How about another round of applause for our colleagues at King's College in Lagos? Is this question, before we let them go, another two questions from our Duke students to the students in Lagos? Okay, let's pass. Oh, there you go. Say your name and your question, please.
I wanted to answer.
Oh, you're okay. You want to answer the first question, what life is like here in DC. Wonderful.
Hello? Oh, okay. Hi, my name is Oluchi Ugorji, and I've been in DC my whole life. And like most of the time, I sometimes think DC is boring, but going downtown, it kind of reminds me, I guess, how lucky I am. I really love the buildings downtown, and I love all the architecture, especially on the mall. I don't really go often, but when I do, it's really refreshing to see the monument and see all the different museums.
Very good. Thank you so much. Another hand raised. If we can ask another question, wonderful. Say your name.
Okay.
I think she had a question first. Okay, let's say your name and ask your question.
No, I didn't have a question, but I just wanted to add to the other question. I think also living here all my life, it gives perspective of what everybody sees isn't really a reality for most of the people that live here. Everybody sees the monuments and oh yeah, the White House, all the presidents and their terms here. But for most people, they're just trying to get on with their lives. Something that I really am grateful for is the transit. Even though I complain about it because people are very slow in the morning, and it's kind of why are you on the wrong side of the escalator? You have legs. But I'm really grateful for that because even though I am 16, I do not have my license yet, which is something that I have to work towards. But because I don't have to really rely on a car a lot, which really stomps people because of your car note and other things that you have to pay for. And then since I'm a student, I can just commute with the train and everything. And then everything's accessible by train and bus for the most part, depending where in particular you want to go. But like also living here, you know, we have good buildings, but we're also just trying to live our daily lives and trying to, you know, hopefully, you know, be one of the people that speaks at the Smithsonian or like amazing museums, because a lot of people don't really have that opportunity or luxury. And so, oh, my question, like, why are you guys laughing? Like, I'm just really confused.
I don't.
Like, I really don't understand. I'm sorry. It just kind of came to mind. Like, I was really confused, and so I'm just,
Let's go to our second question from Duke. Say your name and go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, I'm Zoe Papantanakis, and the question I wanted to ask was, what is something that you wish people who aren't from Lagos knew about it? Like, who knew? Yeah, what's something you wish people knew?
Great question.
Hello, I am Okay Abdurrahman, and I wanted to answer the second question. I really wish people.
Second question is, what do you want people to know about Lagos?
I really want people to know about this. I really want people to know about the historic significance of Lagos State and all the cultural artifacts that are in the museum, other places and monuments that we just showed you in our presentation earlier.
I know, it looks like he's looking. Someone was speaking to him off camera. That's wonderful. I have a question. Since the students here in Washington, D.C. go to Chipotle and Chick-fil-A after school, what do you do after school, or what is your favorite snack to eat after school?
Well, after school, we go to our homes, and our favorite snack is gari. Our favorite snack is gari.
I'd rather eat than Chick-fil-A. I'd rather eat curry at home in Lagos any day.
Well, I'd rather eat gari too any day. Okay, as we were saying, so our favorite snack is gari.
Okay, do we have any more questions?
Hi, since in our presentation we were also talking about what's trending in our city, what is very popular in Lagos? And are the uniforms mandatory?
Well, our music. From the likes of Rema to Burna Boy to Wizkid, Davido.
So I think next year we should have a musical cultural exchange, right? We should have some music. They can listen to some go-go and maybe Burna Boy and some other musicians that we haven't heard of. All right, our scholars from King's College, looking very sharp in your uniforms. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. What a privilege, and we are so happy that you joined us. Thank you for your amazing presentations. Round of applause. Okay, we're going to free up our friends in Lagos who have spent some wonderful time with us. I think we learned a lot. And I think they learned a lot about Washington, D.C. So with that, we're going to move on, and I'm going to introduce a reader for our program. We have two readers. Did we give a round of applause to our Duke Ellington scholars? Okay, so our first reader is here to read a portion of On My Father's Shoulders. It will be read by Dr. Gina Page of Africa Ancestry. I'm going to read her bio and then she'll come and join us. Dr. Gina Page is the co-founder and president of African Ancestry, Inc. Founded in 2003, African Ancestry pioneered a new way of tracing African lineages using genetics and a new marketplace for people of African descent looking to more accurately and reliably trace their roots. Page travels the world helping people demystify their roots and inform on identities so that they may better understand who they are by knowing where they're from. Page has worked with and revealed the roots of the world's leading icons and entities, including Oprah Winfrey, John Legend, Chadwick Boseman, Spike Lee, Condoleezza Rice, and the King family. Page has been featured in hundreds of media outlets, including The Breakfast Club, Hot 97 FM, Time Magazine, USA Today, 60 Minutes, News One Now with Roland Martin, and the Huffington Post, just to name a few. Page resides in Washington, D.C., holds a degree in economics from Stanford University and an MBA from the University of Michigan Ross School of Business. Page was honored with an honorary Doctor of Philosophy from Global Ovid Day Seminary University. And with that, let's welcome Dr. Gina Page.
Hello, how y'all doing? This is the first time I've read a kid's book to some adults. But it's actually fitting. I'll stand, it's okay, yeah. It's fitting because this book is about a little boy going to school, and my cousin Winston is here with me. I tried to get him to come up on the stage, but he was scared you guys would ask him some questions. I'm gonna read this in honor of you, Winston, On My Papa's Shoulders. Most days, I walk to school with Mama. She holds my hand tightly, and we walk quickly along the busy road. Cars toot and zoom, feet tap, tap, people chat, chat. I'm really cracking up on the inside that I'm reading this book to you all. And sometimes I have to stop for Mama to help me tie my shoelaces. Let's hurry and beat the school bell, says Mama. We always do and still have time to kiss and say goodbye. Have a happy day, Mama always calls as I run through the school gate. Some days, Go-Go takes me to school. We always leave early so that we don't have to hurry. Go-Go doesn't like the busy road, so we go the quiet way. We walk, look, and talk. Look, a hungry cat. Go-Go lets me share some of my lunch with him. Then we walk on and talk some more. Tell me about your friends. I tell her about my best friends, Jake, Ben, and Boo. We must hold our friends gently in both hands, says Go-Go. Go-Go is wise. Her hands are old and gentle. She lets go of my hand so that I can run ahead and join my friends, Jake, Ben, and Boo, waiting for me at school. On days when it's cold and rainy, Tata likes to take me to school. We splash in puddles as we go along wet back streets through a soggy park under dripping trees. Tata knows all the shortcuts, but he always has to rest for a while. Then he's ready to whistle again. Tata is a great whistler. His favorite tune is Don't Worry, Be Happy. and off we go. I run ahead of Tata, then stop and look back, just to make sure he's still behind me. Tata never holds my hand, but he's a great hugger. I always get a big hug when he catches up at the school gate. But the days I love the best are when Papa takes me to school. Papa is strong and tall. When he lifts me onto his shoulders, I'm as high as a cloud and can see the whole world. Papa asks, "How are you doing up there, my boy?" I pat his head and say, "Fine, thanks." I want to stay on Papa's shoulders forever and ever. But here's the school, and it's time to come down and say goodbye. Papa kneels beside me, puts his hands on my shoulders, looks at me in the eye, and says, "I love you." "I love you too," I say. That's how we like to say goodbye when Papa goes to work and I go to school. The end. This book is On My Papa's Shoulders by Nikki Daly. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Another round of applause. Any questions for our reader, for Dr. Page? Any questions that came up in the book? I have a question. Talk about well, why the significance. Our theme, obviously, is changing the narrative of Africa through the arts. How do you think that speaks to that speaks to the novel, and how does that speak to you, changing the narrative?
Well, I don't know about the book so much, but I can speak for the work that I do. So the work that I do is helping Black people transform the way we view ourselves and the way we view Africa. And we enjoy African art, we enjoy African fabrics, fashion, foods, but we don't, as people of African descent, we don't always know how that relates directly to us. We have no way of knowing. And the reason we don't know is because our identities were stolen during the slave trade. And during that time, since that time, all of the stories that we're told about Africa are negative. They're negative stereotypes. When you ask people, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Africa? Not this crowd, of course, but the average person is going to say corruption, poverty, disease, all negative things. And so when you know where you're from, when you take the time to actually learn where your bloodline was in Africa prior to our capture and being brought here, then you have the truth, you have facts, and you automatically change the narrative of how we view Africa. And one of the many things that people do once they find out where in Africa they come from is they invest in the art. They invest in the culture. They learn as much as they can about the people and the places that they share ancestry with, and art is one of the easiest ways to do that.
Thank you. And she certainly, with your work, has opened up another world of appreciation for so many of us. Even those who believe that I know exactly where my family is from. You know, there's power in knowing the tribe and knowing, really your roots and your history, and know that we come from greatness, that we were kings and queens and royalty. And the narrative that that many have been taught in schools is not accurate and doesn't depict the fullness. You have more?
I was just going to add, not only were we kings and queens and royalty, we were scholars, we were scientists, we were musicians, we were philosophers, we were writers. So everything that we practice today throughout the world originated from our people in Africa.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Page. Wonderful. Thank you. Now let's welcome our next reader, Kevin D. Dumichel. Kevin is the curator at the National Museum of African Art, where he served for the last 7 years and curated 5 exhibitions and written 2 books in that time. He's a very busy man. Prior to this, he spent 10 years as department head and curator for the arts of Africa and the Pacific Islands at the Brooklyn Museum. He'll be speaking today about his latest book, Heroes, Principle of African Greatness, which commemorates an exhibition from the museum's permanent collection that ran from 2019 to 2022 and lives on as a digital exhibition on the museum's website and through Google's arts and culture pages, as well as a curated playlist of songs available on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Music. So even though we regret that the publishing delay has made us unable to do an in-person signing, we do have the author here. Instead, we have a sample copy available of this amazing book, and you can peruse through that copy. It'll be available upstairs. And I believe we have an exclusive opportunity to pre-order the book as well. So certainly you don't want to miss this. Let's give a round of applause to Kevin Dumichel.
All right, thank you. I am going to read to you, as we said, just a little bit of the introductory essay to the book. It gives you a little bit of a sense of how this project came about. The general was missing in the moment. I was still early in my tenure at the National Museum of African Art and deeply absorbed with my curatorial colleagues in the completion of Visionary, Viewpoints on Africa's Arts, the museum's major new permanent collection exhibition, when I mentioned how much I missed seeing Ousmane Sowe's monumental memorial to the celebrated Haitian liberation leader Toussaint Louverture in the museum's galleries. Not only was it one of the only examples of Sowe's work in an American public collection, its messages of dignity, of self-determination, liberty, seemed a significant answer to some of the increasingly dark and dispiriting public messages of the day. Chris, our chief curator, encouraged me to propose a new small focus installation, perhaps with a handful of works from the collection to pair with Sowe's sculpture, maybe 5 works. But first things first, in this case, Visionary, which is an exhibition that you can still see and experience on the 2nd floor of the museum today. Framed around the central action and metaphor of looking, Visionary is organized around the multiple lives African artworks have lived as they are viewed by 7 distinct actors: collectors, scholars, artists, sponsors, performers, museum specialists, and visitors themselves. Fundamentally multivocal in both concept and execution, Visionary offers 7 different contexts of meaning. Visitors are invited to think about what an object, as a conveyor of the artist's original intention and as an accumulator of new meanings over its many lives, might communicate in any given context. But I wondered, what about the other side of that equation? Visionary's visitor-centered section, the Looking Lab, used a relatively universal art teaching pedagogy, the 7 elements of art, and a series of in-gallery interactive features to encourage visitors to stop, to look carefully at an object, and perhaps strike up a conversation. Walking through that space with visitors and hearing their reactions, the thought eventually occurred, might it be possible to develop a future exhibition organized instead around the reactions, the stories, the emotions that an artwork might evoke in someone on the other side of a frame or a stanchion? As I began to assemble selections to pair with Toussaint Louverture's animated form and piercing stare, this central conceit of artwork's emotional labor as the unifying feature of the project began to rule my thinking. Of course, the gripping and underappreciated historical story of Louverture the Liberator was central to Sowe's intended experience. So Louverture's biography needed to be addressed on its own terms as well. As I began to scour the collection database and rummage the museum storage for the candidates to be the general's new neighbors, other compelling historical figures began to emerge. Gorham Bendre's Suwer painting directly portrayed Sheikh Amadou Bamba, an icon of nonviolent resistance and religious and moral enlightenment. Solomon Belachu's Battle of Adwa was imbued with the presence of Menelik II, the repeller of colonialism. Buvu Tuam's portrait of King Bayat embodied the competing responsibilities of Grassfield's kings in a complex, poignant gesture. If there were a way to convey both the emotional historic principles, LES, and the historic principles, ALS, evoked by these works, the combination might give visitors a unique and unexpected way to consider African artworks. Once I began to explore the collection looking for these stories, the exhibition checklist soon began to grow and grow. Before long, I needed a larger gallery to tell the full story that was emerging. At the same time, the increasing dominance of social media was creating a public discourse in which emotion had increasingly become a governing logic, and in the United States in that time, quite literally. Constructively, such tools offered new points of connection, new ways of understanding and communicating directly across the globe in real time. But they also demonstrated the power of narrative, of story, in framing perceptions and outcomes, for good or for ill. In the same moment, the museum's strategic goals, which had long focused outwardly on inspiring conversations about the beauty, power, and diversity of African arts and cultures worldwide, began to place greater internal emphasis on the power that encouraging empathy has as a means to extend and enrich these conversations specifically as well. So story and empathy, the act of understanding and identifying with someone outside of yourself, these proved to be the natural hinges on which this project, which blended aesthetic, emotional effects with historical biography, really pivoted. It was framed by a poetic statement from the Nigerian author Chinua Achebe that there is no story that is not true. That epigraph speaks to the centrality of story to the human experience. Fact or fiction, intentionally or otherwise, Achebe asserts that the stories are the essential human tool for imparting truth. And the best of these stories, in the spirit of Archbishop Desmond Tutu's invocation of the central plank of Ubuntu humanist philosophy, that to be a full person is to understand your connection to another person, which was itself the unifying philosophical underpinning of the anti-apartheid movement. Together, I thought these two ideas awaken in us the potential to identify with our shared humanity. And that moment, again, we're talking 2017, 2018, in which dated, discredited, and damaging ideas about the continent began to reemerge in the public discourse, seemed ripe for new stories about Africa's arts and histories, all the more visibly, potentially, in the setting of America's capital city with the support of the Smithsonian. As Bob Marley and Peter Tosh's anthem, Get Up, Stand Up, reminds us, there remain far too many stories that are not yet well known, at least half, if not more. Heroes would model a new way of seeing African artworks, increasing both the number, type, and depth of stories available to visitors in the museum. Now, much like the larger Heroes project, a hybrid, multi-layered undertaking, this book serves as a companion to the in-gallery and online experience. The following essay, as you will read on if you choose to pursue me here, will eventually weave together a brief theoretical discussion of the project goals and intellectual grounding, interspersed with personal musings and behind-the-scenes reflections on its actual production, including testimonies from several of the key team members essential to its final realization. In the spirit of the show, the aim is to build from the personal out towards something larger and lasting. In a historical moment loaded with contested interpretations of public structures and symbols, walls, statues, graphics, videos, Heroes represents an experimental attempt to probe a public collection for potential responses. How many latent stories, it asks, can any one work of art tell us? We'll end there. Thank you. Yeah, okay, right.
Did you have a question? Okay.
That was excellent. What inspired you again to write this amazing, much needed book.
Thank you. It was all sort of tied into the exhibition fundamentally, and it was about, it was a number of things. It was fundamentally getting some artworks that I love back on view, but it was also about offering our visitors some new narratives about Africa. It was a moment, as I say, in which the narratives about Africa in the public discourse, particularly coming out of the city at that time, were really awful and really retrograde. And so I wanted to invite our visitors to look at our collection and understand the stories that artists were telling through their objects that offer us a different perspective, that offer us an opportunity to look to African history as a potential for source of role models, really. That's sort of fundamentally what we're getting at here, is inviting our visitors to go deeper in understanding both an art and African history and find models for themselves for behavior and engagement and action in that history and in that art.
I'm inspired.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Talk about your passion. I mean, obviously you can hear it in your voice, you can hear it in your inflection. Talk about why this matters to you, and what message you hope to relay to the younger generation coming in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you. This is really why I do what I do. I opted to work in museums instead of writing scholarly books that a very small number of scholars might read someday, because I wanted to reach a wide and general audience. And I've always been really motivated. My training is both in African history and in African art history. And so this was an opportunity for me to sort of blend those two together in a really pointed way. But the motivation has always been to inspire visitors to understand a place that they either feel connected to or perhaps don't know at all in a deeper way. And to understand the depth and complexity and richness of African history and African art as a resource for their own, connect to their own experiences. And so this show is about sort of giving visitors some paths into select our work with that in mind specifically.
And what do you think about days like today, like Teaching Africa Day, where we open up the museum to different students and presentations, and we hear from scholars in Lagos and find out that there are a couple of things that we do that are the same. What do you think that will do to kind of broaden your message and help reach others?
It's wonderful. It is exactly why I do what I do, and what I hope to see us doing more of. I think this show, which had a slightly limited run here at the museum, it nevertheless lives on in all of the sort of digital incarnations as well as this book. And my hope is that this project is just a sort of launching point, that it inspires future museum practitioners, future artists, future activists, future politicians, future writers to learn more about the artists and the heroes in history that we feature, and to use their lives as models for their own self-development. So this idea of changing the narrative about Africa, that is exactly why we do what we do.
Long overdue, yes. Right? And with that, thank you so much. Another round of applause for Kevin Dumichel.
Thank you so much.
And before he leaves, we do want to mention, because so many were inspired by the book, that pre-sales are available. If you head over to the museum shop, you can leave your name and they will ship the book to you for free, right? They will take care of shipping for you. So thank you to the museum. Thank you to Kevin. We appreciate it. Anyone interested, head over to the museum shop afterwards. Okay, is everyone still awake? Yes. We have some snacks for you. Anyone who needs water? Anyone who needs some chips? Just don't, crunch too loudly when our next reader is coming up, because we do have one final reader, and then Miss Gathoni is coming, and we will have a game, an interactive game. And then after that, we will have an amazing dance performance from some dancers, artists from University of Maryland. But right now, I want to bring to the stage Dr. Monique Chisholm. She is the Undersecretary for Education at the Smithsonian Institution. In this role, she oversees the institution's educational priorities to benefit learners of all ages. She's a transformative leader with over 25 years of experience in education, 16 years of experience leading complex organizations and projects. As a former teacher, state administrator, and federal policymaker, she brings a unique lens and set of experiences to the work with a focus on equity and systems change. Previously, Chisholm was the Vice President for Education Policy and Strategic Initiatives at the American Institutes of Research. Prior to that, she served as the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Policy and Programs at the U.S. Department of Education. In both organizations, she led the teams focused on promoting academic excellence and enhancing Monique Chisholm. Thank you. Would you like to sit, stand?
Yes, I'm gonna sit. How's everyone? Good, good. Good to see you. I'm gonna invite anyone who wants to come a little closer because these illustrations are so beautiful, but especially for our young people, if you wanna come join me up front, I would really, really feel more comfortable and appreciate that. How many of you have already read The Boy Who Harnessed Wind? Has anybody read that yet? You have? See, I really need you up front to help me. See? Yes, I'm gonna need some help with this, and so you can definitely help me. So, The Boy Who Harnessed Wind, I just had a chance to read this, and it's an amazing story. Is it Dorian? Dorian, did you like the book? What did you like about it? You liked how he, tell me again, you liked how he?
I liked how he made it out of different things.
Oh, okay, so there's a little preview. He makes something in the book, and he makes it out of different things. Anybody else have any kind of guesses about what this book might be about based on the title? The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. Any guesses about what the book might be about just based on the title? You look like you have a guess right here. Right here in the lovely red outfit. Yes. A windmill? Maybe about a windmill. Yes, yes. Okay, well, let's get into the book. It's a wonderful story about innovation and what this young man can do for his community. So, The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. In a small village in Malawi, where people had no money for lights, nightfall came quickly and hurried poor farmers to bed. But for William, the darkness was best for dreaming. So he's living in a small village where they don't have any money for lights. Oh, we're in his dreams. Can you guys see this wonderful illustration? We're in William's dreams. So let's see. He dreamed of building things and taking them apart, like the trucks with bottle cap wheels parked under his bed, and pieces of radio that he cracked open and wondered, if I can hear the music, where is it coming from? In his grandpa's tales of magic, he also remembered how he dreamed of planes that passed through the windows and the ghost dancers that twirled around in his room, many of them inside bundles and bundles of energy. Can you see those? Yeah, okay. Now, at dawn in the fields, William scanned the maze rows for magical beings and then wondered, as the truck rumbled by, how does the engine go? Pay attention where you throw that hoe, his father shouted. You're cut off your foot. So he's daydreaming really about the truck, how does it run? And his father's like, hey, watch out, because you're going to take off your foot. Okay, so he's paying attention. For all the power over all of the dancers and the flying things, magic could not bring them wind. Magic could not bring them rain. Without water, the sun rose angry each morning and scorched the fields, turning the maize to dust. Without food, Malawi began to starve. So without the water, all the crops are dying, and the community has no food, and the community begins to starve. Oh, we start to see. Soon William's father gathered their children and said, "From now on, we only eat 1 meal per day. We have to make it last." In the evenings, they sat around the lantern and ate their handful, watching hungry people pass like spirits along the road. And I don't know if you can see this wonderful illustration, but the spirits passing along the road, kind of referencing all of the people that were hungry in the community. William, here, he looks sad because money also disappeared with the rain. His father said, "I'm so sorry, but you'll have to drop out of school." School was not free like it is here in America. Now William stood on the road and watched the lucky students pass along. With the monster belly of hunger in his tummy, a lump developed in his throat. For weeks he sulked, and he sat under the mango tree until he remembered there was a library down the road, a gift from the Americans. So William decides to go to the library. He found science books filled with brilliant pictures, and he also found an English dictionary. And so together, he learned how to read the books. He learned how engines moved the big trucks and how the radios pulled their magic from the sky. But the greatest picture of all was of a machine, taller than the tallest tree, with blades like a fan. A giant pinwheel, something to catch magic. Slowly, he started to think and put the sentence together. Windmills can produce electricity and pump water. He's reading this in the book, and his all of it's coming together. Remember, he had those questions about radios and engines, and now he learns that windmills can actually make electricity and pump water. He closes his eyes and he starts to dream. He closed his eyes and he saw the windmill outside his home pulling electricity from the breeze. And he says, "I will bring light to the dark valley." Wow, and he's just like a young boy, a youth. Okay, so he saw the machine drawing cool water from the ground, sending it gushing through the thirsty fields, turning the maize into tall green plants. Even when farmers' prayers for rain went unanswered, the windmill was more than a machine. It was a weapon to fight hunger. Wow, he built an electric windmill. So we see that he starts to go and look for pieces. In the junkyard, the pieces appeared, like a rusted treasure in tall grass, and a tractor fan, and some pipe, and bearing the bolts, and with every muscle he moved, he found more and more pieces. He shouted, he was very excited, holding up his prizes. But William kept dragging all the pieces together, and as he would drag him into a pile, people would shout out to him and tell him that he was crazy for digging in the trash. But he just kept going. He just kept looking for pieces, even though people were telling him that he was crazy. After many, many weeks, William arranged all the pieces that he had in the dirt: a broken bicycle, rusted bottle caps, plastic pipes, and even a generator that powered a headlight on a bike. For 3 days, he bolted, he banged, and he tinkered, while all the chickens squawked and the dogs barked and the neighbors shook their heads saying, "What is he doing now?" So he's getting it together. He's getting it together, and people still don't believe in him. Well, a couple of people come to help him. His cousin Jeffrey and best friend Gilbert soon appeared, and they greeted, and they said, "Can we help?" Yes, they grabbed some tools and follow me, and they all started working together. They swung their sharp blades at the trunks of the gum tree, and they hammered them together to make the tower. You see this tower here made out of the tree? And now, standing atop on the tower, William shouted down, "Bring it up!" When the boys tugged and heaved, the crowd gathered below and gazed at the strange machine. That now leaned and wobbled like a clumsy giraffe. Some giggled and others teased William and waited for the wind. And lo and behold, like always it came. First a breeze, then the gusting gale, then the tower swayed and the blades spun around. And all of a sudden, his windmill starts to work. What we see with some of the hands once slowed by hunger and darkness, William connected all the wires to a small bulb, which flickered at first and then surged as bright as the sun. So now they have light. A man yelled, "Well done, William!" And all the doubters clapped their hands. William knew he had just begun. Light could not fill empty bellies, but another windmill could make the dry ground wet, creating food for the community once again. The electric wind can feel my country, William thought. Can feed my country, William thought. And that was the strongest magic of all. So he keeps building windmills. And that's the end.
Thank you, Dr. Chisholm. Any questions for Dr. Chisholm or about our book? How did it compare to the first book that you read, Dory? The first one that you talked about earlier today.
It's the same book.
It's the same book, so you already knew.
Did you see anything different this time that you didn't see before or hear before?
That last picture, I didn't see before.
Really? This last one with all the windmills
Yeah.
in the community? Yeah, because he kept building them. He just kept building them and building them. My favorite part was that he was able to dream about the vision and see it before he was able to do it. And that even though people in the community laughed at him and made fun of him, he kept going. And he was determined to find out how to make this work for the community. That's my favorite part.
What a teacher. Can you tell Dr. Chisholm was a teacher? Once a teacher, always a teacher. I have one question just about, the Smithsonian is such an amazing resource for our community. And we had some students from Duke Ellington earlier when they were speaking to the scholars from Lagos and said, sometimes we take what we have here in our city for granted. All the monuments and all the museums and the resources. We don't take full advantage of them. So what would you say to encourage other people to really take advantage of everything that the Smithsonian has to offer educationally?
Well, I would say here at the Smithsonian, we love you, all of you, and we do everything that we do for you. And so we love it when you come to the museums and visit us, but we also have things online. And if you ever need anything that's like a special tour or a special experience, just reach out because that's what we're here for. We want to do those things for you, for your parents, for your communities. We have about 6,000 employees that are here to serve you with information about art, culture, history, and science. So please use us.
Round of applause for Dr. Chisholm. Thank you so much.
Thanks for helping me.
Wonderful job. And so now, how's everyone doing? Yes, still awake? I see the dancers are circling the grounds. They're nearby. But right now, I want to bring Gathoni back to the stage to lead an interactive game of Kahoot. featuring some content from the online digital exhibition, Heroes, Principle of African Greatness, and Other Questions About Africa. So I think this involves our phones. Is that right? So whoever has a phone, get your phone out, keep it handy because it's an interactive game. Why don't we, before we do that, let's all stand up and shake it out a little bit. We've been sitting for a while and stretch. Come on, don't make me do it by myself, everybody. Come on. The cameras are on me. I can't be the only one looking silly, all right? Okay, let's stretch a little bit. All right, now we're ready. Pull out your phones, and we're going to get ready for a game of Kahoots. And followed by the game, we're going to have an amazing dance performance from Afro Chic dance team from the University of Maryland. So let's give it up for Miss Gathoni coming to the stage. Round of applause. Okay. Oh, yeah.
All right. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Okay, everybody here, who has a phone in your hand? All right, come in the center. Come in the center, please. I need you to pay attention here. We've been looking at the theme today is changing the narrative through the arts. It's a very, very powerful theme, as we have seen so far. And what we want to do, like this particular game, so I'm going to explain the game so that you can be loading your phones while we speak. What you want to do is go on your phone and do kahoot.it, just that. Kahoot.it, it's going to ask you for the PIN. You're going to put this PIN name, number, 368-6244. So everyone who has a phone, please load your phone, go to kahoot.it. And put in the PIN. You see, it's waiting for players. So I know, oh, Sarah, thank you. We have a player, Sarah, Dylan. So it's going to ask you for your name. You can make up any name you want. You're welcome to join us. Anyone who has a phone, please put the kahoot.it on your phone and put your player name. The Wi-Fi. Oh, it's a guest, SI guest. Or visitor, yeah. But I think if I don't think you need it. You don't need it because it's just on your phone. So you want to go to Monique, Dr. Chisholm, okay? Please put it on your phone, everyone. So we've been looking at how the arts changing the narratives through the arts and how perspectives, the arts are very powerful visually to really change and tell a story. And today we've heard from the youth, from the peers, where they shared what they love about their own cities through their own eyes and not through what media has told them. But in that small act, they have made a huge impact because it makes an impact, a difference when you yourself are there sharing. So this particular Kahoot is in same alignment with changing the narrative through the arts. And we've shared here before that for many years, Africa has been underrepresented or misrepresented visually in many formats. If someone shared, I think it was Dr. Page, that a lot of the visuals that people are aware or see are of either poverty or wars or corruption. And whereas those things do exist, they're not the only narrative. And just like anywhere, there are many narratives. So we're going to share this, and if you don't know, that's fine. Just guess the answer. The question is going to appear on the screen, and you're going to choose the answer on your phone. When you do that, we'll be able to see the scores. It's just for fun. It's just for learning. Nobody's going to grade you, but we want you to walk away with something new that you've learned. So we have Mama Africa, we have Dorian, Miss Said, Daly, Monique, Dylan, Sarah. That's 7 players. All right. Do we have any more? Are we going to? Are you in? You're trying to get in. Okay, we'll wait one more minute and then we'll get started. Anyone with a phone? Okay. Ooh, Kayla. Okay, Dorian. This is good. All right. We'll be able to get, we're waiting for Kyle or whatever name he will use. So this is a great game, great way to teach and to learn. And I hope you will enjoy it. Blaze. All right. So we have 9 participants, 10. All right. Any more? Okay, we good? All right. So let's go ahead and get started. We have about 25 questions. So like I said, the question will appear on the screen, but you answer it on your phone. Okay? It's a game of speed and also knowledge. So if you know the answer, you quickly choose and you'll see it will score up all it will tally all the scores for us. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Thank you. You can press start. All right. So the first question is, okay, it's changing the narrative through the arts. And we'll start with the very first question, countdown, 2, 1, 0. And the first question is, what is the meaning of the Ghanaian symbol Sankofa? Is it move forward? I am because we are a beautiful bird looking to the past to go forward. Choose any of those. You'll see it on your phone. So you can pick. We have 6 answers already. So 4 of you, 7, 3 of you still answering. You can guess if you don't know. All right, 3 of you got it right. It's looking to the past to go forward. That's the meaning. So can we go to the next question? Okay. All right. Name this city. Can you put the volume on, please? It says, name this city. Is it South Africa? Is it Kigali, Morocco, or Nairobi? Okay, Kigali. One of you was right. And you know, we're not very familiar with African landscapes, or cityscapes, I should say. Let's go to the next one. Okay, Dylan is in the lead. Good job. The third question is, Dash, Ethiopia is famous for its beautiful monolithic rock-cut churches. All right. Is it Gondar? Is it Adama? Is it Addis Ababa or Lalibela? Which one is famous for its monolithic rock-cut churches? Just guess if you don't know. The answer will appear once we're done. 9 answers, so 1 more. It was Lalibela. All right. Let's go to the next question. All right, Dylan. Oh, Tariq. Okay. Tariq now is in the lead. Okay, let's go to the next question. And the next question is, name this popular West African snack. Is it sobo? Is it choma? Is it suya? Or is it sanyo? You can't say it loudly if you know. Suya. Okay, that was the answer. All right. Okay, let's go to the next question. And Tariq is still in the lead. Mama Africa is coming quick behind you. Next question, number 5 of 25. Name this popular East African snack. Is it flat fry? Is it sanduku? Is it mahamri? Or is it samosa? You have to be quiet with your answer. Okay, number 7. I think most of you got it right. Good. Let's go to the next one. The next question. Oh. This popular song originates from Cape Verde, South Africa, Nigeria, or Zimbabwe. Can you raise the volume? Can you hear it? Who knows? Is it Cape Verde, South Africa, or Nigeria? It's South Africa. Okay. We go to the next one. Next question. Oh, Blaise is in the lead. Wow. Let's see. That's great.
Dylan is second. Wow. Okay, number 7, William Kamkwamba. All right, we should know this. Is he famous for innovation at the age of 14? Is a famous online influencer? Is a Congolese professional sports athlete? Or he brought electricity to his community? Okay. Okay, there was 2 correct answers, so we just read about him. He's the boy who harnessed the wind. Okay, the next question. Let's see. Let's see what the next question is. Name this popular African dance. Is it moonshake? Is it shaku shaku? Is it guara? Or is it azonto? Can we put the music?
And I want to share this thought that everyone was doing over there.
So is it moonshake, shaku shaku, or guara guara? It's azonto. Okay, let's do the next one. All right. Blaise is still in the lead. Number 9, name this contemporary African dance. Is it boda boda, basa sasa, zumba style, or guara guara? Guara guara. Okay, let's go to the next one. All right, ready? The next question is coming up. Blaise is still in the lead. Mama Africa, they've been switching up here. Okay. Yeah, number 10 of 20. Name this city in Africa. All right. Is it Freetown, Algeria, Kisumu, or Lagos? Which city is this? You can guess if you don't know. Name this city. It is Lagos. It's by the water. And we had them with us this morning. Okay, let's keep going. The next question is, Dash was an important trade product in Timbuktu. What was that? Was it salt? Was it indigo? Was it coffee? Or was it tea? Which product was an important trade product in Timbuktu? 5, salt. Awesome. Most of you got it, which is great. Dylan. All right. Let's keep going with the next question. Number 12. Oranges are one of the largest agricultural products of A, Madagascar, Morocco, Gabon, or Eritrea. Morocco. Okay, the next one. Who founded the Abekute Women's Union? This is from the Heroes book. Was it Nzinga Bandi, Maurice Konde, Fumiyalo Ransom Kuti, or Tatu Betu? It was Fumalayo Ransom Kuti. That's Fela Kuti's mother. If you are familiar with him, he was he was an activist through his music. So this African nation has the richest diamond mine in the world. Is it Congo? Is it Sierra Leone? Is it Botswana or South Africa? It has the richest diamond mine in the world. Oh, this is an error. It's actually Botswana. It's Botswana. That's my error. It's Botswana. It has the richest diamond. So if you chose South Africa, you got a point. But it's actually incorrect. It's Botswana. Okay, next. Who is an emblematic figure of Burkina Faso warrior and mother of Ouédraogo? Was it Yananga, Nzinga Bandi, Gambanga, or Moaga? These are all from our Heroes Principles of African Greatness exhibition. Let's see. You can guess. It was Yanega. All right. So we have just a couple of more questions and then we'll be done with this. But we have number 16. Which country is nicknamed the land of 1,000 hills in Africa? Is it Ethiopia? Is it Rwanda or Algeria or Tanzania? Rwanda. That is correct. Okay. Okay, they're changing up here a lot. Dylan now is in the lead. Okay, next. Well done. 17 of 25. What is the name of the memorial erected in Ouda? Is it the Slave's Gate, the Bight of Benin, the Gate of No Return, or Ouda's Gate? Ouda's Gate. You might want to guess this one. It's the Gate of No Return. All right, we'll go to the next question. So, who studied pre-colonial African cultures and wrote Nations Nègres et Culture? Was it Aimé Césaire, Alexander Dumas, Cheikh Anta Diop, or Lewis Latimer? It was Cheikh Anta Diop. Okay, we'll go to the next question. Number 19. Which African nation produces the most gold? Is it South Africa? Is it Mali? Is it Sudan? Or is it Ghana? There's a giveaway there because of the flag, if you know the flag. If you know the flag. So, South Africa, Mali, Sudan, or it's Ghana. Good job. All right, let's keep going. Dylan is still, on the lead. Good job. Okay, 20. We have 5 more. Who joined the freedom fighter movement and wielded a machete against French troops? Was it Louis Mahin, Sojourner Truth, Queen Nanny, or Solitude of Guadeloupe? You might not know, but you can guess. We have Solitude of Guadeloupe. Good job. All right, next. Dylan is still on top. Good job. Okay. We have 4 more questions. Where did the Revolt de Malice, my pronunciation, and the Sabina slaves rebellions occur? Was it in United States, in Cuba, Brazil, or Equatorial Guinea? We have 8 answers. It was in Brazil. That's probably Portuguese right there. So the next question is, who founded the University Negro Movement Association and Back to Africa movement? Was it A, Marcus Garvey, Philip Emeagwali, Anton Willem Amo, or Ira Ulrich? Ira Ulrich, Marcus Garvey. Okay, and then we will have Dylan. Oh, Dylan is going strong there. The next question is, name the famous French writer known for his play The Three Musketeers. Was it Aimé Césaire, Alexander Pushkin, Anton Willem Amo, or Alexandre Dumas? Alexandre Dumas. He has African ancestry. So let's go to the next one and we'll be finishing soon. So Dylan, we have the last question. This African nation is the world's largest producer of cocoa. Is it Madagascar? Is it Mali, Burkina Faso, or Cote d'Ivoire? Cote d'Ivoire. Oh, I did another mistake. It's actually Cote d'Ivoire. But if you picked Burkina Faso, that's the world's largest one is Ivory Coast. And the last question is, what is Africa's 6th region? Northern Africa, Central Africa, Southern Africa, or African diaspora? Oh, I think, okay, most of you got it. It's African diaspora. So let's go to the next. And we will see who is the podium in 3rd place. Blaise, let's give him a round of applause. Monique, Dr. Chisholm is in 2nd place, all right. And in 1st place is Dylan. Oh! Well done, well done. Oh, thank you all for playing. I hope you learned something, and we're going to go ahead and start the next section. So thank you all. I'll bring you back to the stage.
a wonderful game. I mean, put a phone in a teenager's hands and they can do anything. What an amazing game. Did we learn a lot in that game? I certainly did. Thank you, Kathoni. That was a great game. All right, so now we have a real treat. We have dancers who I just saw stretching, warming up, getting ready for an amazing performance. Afro Chic Dance Team from the University of Maryland is a multicultural performing dance team which performs routine from various African countries. Afro Chic Dance Team stands firmly upon its belief to promote diversity on campus by showcasing African dance mixed with other genres of dance and to spread awareness of the diversity of dance styles of the African culture to the community. Afro Chic dancers are committed, hardworking, and dedicated to ensure the organization prospers on campus. All members uphold integrity and respect, not only during private practices, but also while performing, whether on campus or at school events like this one off campus. The ladies are in formation. Let's give Afro Chic a round of applause.
It's 5 in the morning in the classroom. Y'all look so fly in the classroom. Yeah, we about to get jiggy in the classroom. AC4L in the classroom.
Kuchonu Baba. Come in, Kuchonu Baba.
Come follow me. Hush, hush. Hush, hush.
Charlie, you get generators and put them on. Chill. Come on, everybody to move to the dance floor. I think you say you want some more. Double for me.
Everybody say I like go. It be like all the pretty girls fix you, though. It be like every day, I on the bread cry 2 or 3 girls that tell a bingo. For El Gringo, do my dingo. But then you know, maybe I can go on support this go. I know we stable. Just let the flow, it's just to yo. Go, do some vision flow. So, here we go. Okay, let's make a video. I gon' make it famous, but I know the cheese.
that is babe in the classroom. At least I got A's in the classroom. Your hair never late in the classroom, but I'm still getting paid in the classroom.
Não faz isso, bela, bela. 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 Não faz isso, bela, não faz isso, bela. Não faz isso,
Arrest my case, bọ̀bọ̀ tó wà lọ́kàn ẹ̀ pa, ó ti wú sí kan bí W. Èèyàn mélòó ló ti fara ṣàánú fún àbíta ló ti fìbọn ẹ̀bùn? See me no get fuck car, but I get bunker. Ìkádẹ́ wà wí ọ̀tá ló ń pè ní sọ́nà fìkàjà rúgbìn. Ọjọ́, ẹjọ́, ọjọ́. Sula, sula money. Kó má lọ wo kìrìkà, sula money ló wà ń rí. Ẹ̀yà bá, ẹ̀bìlà bá. Emeja dojis, Uriyaida, Emamiri, Sularuame, Oda Todala, Oba Tilabi, do that. You lost, you move. Oga Polisaruame, sir, Oba Tilabi.
Man, they can't keep up in the classroom. Raise your hand, don't interrupt in the classroom. Wristband, back it up in the classroom. Afro chic turning up in the classroom.
Le concept s'appelle Je suis fâché. On peut aller. Je suis fâché. DJ PDK. La blocage. DJ Tabaco. La blocage encore. Et toi là-bas là. Oui, toi là-bas. Ça veut dire moi. Tu veux jouer. Aujourd'hui là. Tu vas comprendre que. Je suis fâché. Sénateur, Merci Côte d'Ivoire. DJ vers le lion. Chez qui logiciel? On t'a envoyé? T'es menti. Je suis fâché. Dans le swing. Wake up. Let me see you. Let me see you, baby. Let me see you. Don't walk, you don't try. It's supposed to be fine. Meet me in the bed. See, don't walk, you don't try. It's supposed to be fine.
I had to end the live video first. Another round of applause. The energy on a whole different level. I think it woke everybody up, and the whole ladies, you are amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your energy and that joy and that excellence with us. Thank you so much. Well, that's fine. I had enough energy, I think, to fill the room. Let's give the ladies one more round of applause. They were outstanding as they walk out the door. That is how you make a statement. They came in and they dominated. Beautiful, beautiful dances. And you can imagine how much work goes into and the commitment that it takes to really perform in that kind of way with that kind of energy. And they got all of us involved too. Even those of us who didn't want to get up and dance, we got up and danced. Thank you so much. Did everyone have a great time today? Oh, it's been great. So we are going to pause. I don't have my script, so I'm not certain what we have next. But I think I want to encourage everyone to check out the pavilion and our vendors upstairs. We have some wonderful, remarkable vendors, lots of local people with great educational tools, resources to learn more about Africa. Again, this is Teaching Africa Day, and we are trying to bridge the gap and inform ourselves about our culture and our history through the arts and how the arts can change the narrative of Africa. So I thank all of you for being here, investing time on this beautiful Saturday to celebrate our heritage and our culture, and hopefully walk away learning something new. So now we're going to have a panel discussion with the dancers. Hopefully they're going to get some water and cool off, and then they'll be here to talk to us more about the language of dance and what message they're trying to relay as they perform in front of audiences like ourselves here. So another round of applause for everyone here and for Afro Chic. Okay, I'm going to introduce our leader, our moderator for this esteemed panel, Maggie Johnson Obagi, who is the current board chair of the National Museum of African Art. Magdalene Johnson Obagi is the president and chief executive office of NIS Solutions Corporation, a women-owned information technology services and management consulting company headquartered in Sterling, Virginia. In 2012, the Board of Regents of the Smithsonian Institution elected Magdalene Johnson Obagi to the board of the National Museum of African Art. In 2019, she was elected chair of the board after serving as the chair of the Advancement Committee from 2014 to 2016 and co-vice chair from 2016 to 2019. In March of 2021, Magdalene was elected to the board of Loudon Hunger Relief, a food pantry organization and partner agency with the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank and Feeding America partner. Magdalene has been elected to serve on the board of trustees of her alma mater, St. Augustine's University in Raleigh, North Carolina. St. Augustine's University is an HBCU. In May of 2023, the presiding bishop, Michael Bruce Curry of the Episcopal Church USA, appointed Magdalene of the Covenant Committee for the Episcopal Church in Liberia. Inducted into the Rotary Club of Reston in 2000, Magdalene has held numerous offices, including president in 2005 to 6, and again 2006 to 2007. Magdalene Johnson Obaji holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Management and Administration from St. Augustine's University in Raleigh, North Carolina. So I'm going to turn the panel over to Miss Obaji. Let's give her a round of applause as she moderates our panel.
Thank you so much. I was listening and I was like, who is she talking about? But I want to say, bugao, okay? And that's about it I can do. But I was just so impressed with you young ladies, and we were just there talking to, you guys are finished, no sweat, not breathing hard, you know? So I want to just applaud you for what you do. And thanks for gracing us with your talent today. I'm gonna sit because after Buga, I have to sit. You know, today we're gonna be discussing the impact and the influence of contemporary African dance as an art form. And what you guys just did is showed us what contemporary art form is. So let's get the show on the road and educate ourselves and others on what contemporary African art dance can do. What initially drew you to African contemporary dance, and how has it influenced your artistic journey? Any one of you?
I can go ahead and start. So I grew up in Howard County, Maryland, and while it is now a lot more diverse, while I was going through elementary school and middle school, it was not a lot of students embracing their African heritage. And so I didn't really get into African dance until I entered high school when I was about 14 years old. And even then, you know, we were really just trying to work with what we had. So there wasn't a lot of education going around about the beauties of our African heritage. And so coming to the University of Maryland, where we joined this dance group, you know, it's a group of not only African people, but African women that really show a true passion for African dance. And so being in this group has helped me to not only expand my mind, but also expand my love for where my parents grew up, and also just dancing and having different avenues of expressing myself.
You? Yeah, I would say that I started on a very different spectrum from where Nadia started. So I grew up in PG County, Maryland, and there is a very large African community in PG County. So it was really easy for me to get into the dance scene, and I think what I appreciated most about it was the community. There's a huge community around dance. I had the experience to learn not only more about my own culture through my friends, but learn about other countries within Africa. So you have Ghana, Zonto, yes girl, Ghana, Zonto, South African dance, even Ethiopian, Eskata. You know, we didn't have the chance to show that off today, but you know, like I had the opportunity to learn about all the different regions and all the ways that African dance can be so diverse, and it wasn't just, you know, what I grew up with. So I really appreciated having that community in high school, and I wanted to continue that
I think it's one of those things that came to me. Dance is always one of those things that I appreciate God just putting in my life, because it wasn't something that I had to go towards. It was just always there. And so long as I've had it, I've always wanted to continue to provide that community for others wherever it is that I go.
Yeah, not to say too much of what they already said, but I kind of had a similar experience, such as my teammate over here. I would grew up in an African church, grew up in an African community. So coming to college and having that same type of space was honestly an outlet for me, and I can say that for most of the team, we are all full-time students. So having something like this that we can kind of go back to, which makes us forget about school or just have fun with each other, is definitely something that I think has helped all of us throughout even our undergrad experience.
Wonderful. Would you also say the whole genre now of African beat plays a role in this for you?
Yeah, I would say I think the whole genre of Afrobeat has definitely expanded. It's gotten a lot bigger than it used to be. When we were younger, now all different kinds of people are doing it, not just people that look like us. So yeah, I would say that it's definitely have expanded over the years, and it's honestly really beautiful to see all the different types of styles of dances and new things that we can learn and also bring to our performances, just to cater to everyone's needs and likes. Yeah.
Wonderful. As you know, I'm sure you guys know, the other night, Afrobeat for the first time got an award at the MTV Music Award. So that speaks volume. So you guys have your work cut out for you. Okay. How does contemporary African dance challenge and reshape the narratives and stereotypes surrounding Africa, both within and outside the continent?
I would say it reshapes the narrative because a lot of times people think that those that live in Africa are constantly struggling or constantly, and while, struggle is a very harsh reality that does exist in Africa, I don't think that enough people really envision the beauties that also come from Africa. And so when, just how Karen was saying, all these different genres of dance are emerging and you're seeing how creative African people are, then it really shows, that there isn't just that one narrative that was stuck on the African population. There's so much more that we have to offer other than, that sad narrative that people, at times push upon us. And so it really just allows us to share the beauties that is of our African people.
Anyone else?
I don't think I could have said it better myself.
And also, if you go back in history, when it comes to dance, we call it, now we say African dance, but this was a relief for our ancestors back in the day, even during slavery, the singing and the dancing that they brought with them. It was a sense of relief. And I think one of you just stated that, yes, you're in the university, you're studying, but this group gives you an outlet. So you're going back to your ancestors. In what ways does contemporary African dance contribute to the broader conversation about identity and cultural representation in the arts?
I think that the community that dance brings is one thing that's very distinct, especially for Africans, because like I said, each country has their own very distinct style. And I think it's important to take a look at the distinctive styles of each country, how that informs their dance, not only their dance styles, but their fine art styles, the way that they entertain. It's so different and it's so rich from country to country. And I think that if you take a further look at, for example, I grew up Ibibio. My traditional dance is very different from even my godmother, who's still Nigerian. Ibibio is a Nigerian tribe. Ibibio. It came from Efik, so it stems from Efik tribe, Calabar area, and then you have Igbo. My godmother's Igbo. So I grew up learning traditional Ibibio from my mom. I grew up learning traditional Igbo from my godmother. And even though those two are so close together, even just geographically, you can see how the different cultures inform the different dance styles. So I think it's really interesting to look across not only different countries, different regions, but even just different tribes and see how distinct their styles are. And the one way that that is most visibly present is in dance. And I think that's really amazing. So I think that the more that people look into, start to identify the distinctions between different regions and then different countries, the more you see the nuances of the different cultures of each tribe and each country and each region in Africa.
Anyone else?
I would say everything she says just goes to speak about like the representation of Afro Chic. Like, we have a lot of different girls from different countries. Like, there's not like one specific country that's like the whole team. We have people from Ghana, from Nigeria, from Cameroon. So I think that also having all of us come from different backgrounds, like we're also able to just help make the dance team stronger in different styles. And then also it just like expands our knowledge in different ones. Like even though I'm not Nigerian, I'm from Ghana, I know that I've been able to, excel and get better at Nigerian dance style just because of like having teammate members who are more like accustomed to those type of things.
Would you also say, with the different cultures and the different tribes on the continent of Africa, through dance, we can educate our brothers and sisters in the diaspora through our dance, through our art,
I would say that is the way that it is for all types of art styles, no matter where it comes from. And I definitely think that dance is the same way. In the same way that, you guys had the opportunity to come up here and dance with us, we had an opportunity to just share one specific type of, this is just even a modern Nigerian dance trend. It's not even to say that it's something that came from centuries past. It's just something that was recent. That was an opportunity to share our knowledge of what our own culture with you guys as well. So yeah, for sure.
Wonderful. Can you share examples of specific dance products or performances that have effectively conveyed powerful narratives or messages about African culture and history?
So we usually, I would say one of our performances that we usually perform at an event called Battles, where we compete with other dance teams like us within Maryland. And this past year, we had a traditional round, which like we just had to focus on like one specific country or like any countries that just to represent the culture and traditional dances. So we chose South Africa. So we kind of used we used three or four different tribes. So we had like the Zulu tribe, Benda. We did some gumboot style. Oh yeah, Botswana. Yeah, so it was kind of nice because we all kind of split up in groups and were able to actually like research and kind of like look back at YouTube videos of like what are they actually doing. Like that's something where we had to put extra research into to like go on YouTube and see like what does it look like, how can we like emulate it. And honestly, like I think that was one of our most like beautiful performances, just because we were able to do something that's like not necessarily what we like usually do. Like it's not anything that's like heavy footwork or anything necessarily trendy, but it was just nice to kind of like go back to the roots and show people, okay, like this is the styles of dance people were doing like in earlier days. This is how it was done. So yeah.
And would you say in your research did you find out the meaning of some of these dances? Because as you know, some of the dances have meanings to them. There are reasons for some of the dances. Did you come across information like that?
Yeah, so I would say, for example, with the Venda tribe, I think I wasn't in this particular section, but we did like a snake. It was like a water snake. And the Venda tribe is a quote unquote water tribe, or water is one of their main symbols.
Mm-hmm.
So when we came out, we had a leader in the front, and her facials were so good. She did like wide eyes with the tongue, and if you get to see the performance, it's posted on our Instagram. But it was basically just a bunch of ladies following behind her in this motion, and our hands were going up and down like this, kind of just to signify that snake motion. So that was one of those things, like paying homage to the Venda tribe, that water snake, and something that they see as important in their particular culture.
How does contemporary African dance incorporate storytelling? We're going back right to what you just stated, and tradition elements to convey meaningful narratives to audience worldwide?
I think that it looks really different now from the way that it looked for historical dances. So going back to our performance at Battles, we had a creative round, and for that, storytelling was super easy. We did something based on Phineas and Ferb. And if you guys know, Phineas and Ferb is just a cartoon that a lot of us, or people our age, watched when we were really young, but it was super easy to convey because you have the opportunity to mix the popular pop culture from your American culture, so to speak, with your African contemporary culture. So we're able to convey this whole theme, Phineas and Ferb, with outfits and everything, remixing some African songs to commonly known Phineas and Ferb songs or the theme, and people loved it. They went crazy. So I think these days, especially for us who are first generation and second generation African American, the way that we present our contemporary African dance style tends to look really different. And I think it's a really awesome opportunity to mix that, to have the hybrid culture of, okay, yes, I'm very connected to my African roots. I'm very connected to my African culture as it is of current, but I also take that in the context of I was born in America, or I grew up with most of my life being spent in America, and to be able to mix those two things together. And that's one of the best ways to get people of different cultures, so those who grew up here in America, to get a better understanding. It's a good segue into understanding African dance style because you're taking something that's familiar to them as well, and then using it and incorporating it into the dance styles that we grew up with in our own households and in our own families.
And also for them to understand the culture through music and through your art form.
For sure.
How has contemporary African dance influenced other global dance forms and artistic expressions, contributing to a more interconnected and diverse cultural landscape?
I think that now, if you look anywhere on social media, Karen kind of touched on it before, but you'll see people from all corners of the globe doing Afrobeats trends or, trying out new dance styles. So nowadays, Afrobeats is becoming a lot more mainstream, and you also kind of see it tie into, hip hop. They kind of give and take from each other. More contemporary hip hop nowadays, you can kind of see Afrobeats trickle its way into there, or you'll see contemporary hip hop dancers begin choreographing hip hop dances to Afrobeats music. Same thing with Afrobeats. Sometimes, for our performances, we'll incorporate mainstream R&B or hip hop music into us. So nowadays, you really see it being generally accepted more than it was in the past.
So would you say the hip hop and Afrobeat and the dances that you all are doing now, not just the contemporary African dances, but dance as a whole, can you guys see
I remember 2016, Rihanna did, I believe she did live performances throughout the day. So that was the first and I remember the first time I saw Guara Guara outside of the scope of African like Afrobeat to the world. And that was just the first thing to influencing American art and American dance. So now I'm starting to be the dance that we did for one of our it was a very confident dance called the summer. And things to incorporate those South African dances into their hip hop dance styles. And very celebrity dances. Paris Rovell, she's a hip hop choreographer in Switzerland. So her incorporating so many different South African dance styles in her own choreography. Also, the represent a lot more African into hip hop and the K-pop styles as well. That's something that I think is so
Embracing all of that. Or your peers, but internationally.
Yeah, for sure. Let's speak for all of us when we say that. Yeah.
Yeah, she kind of already like touched on everything, but yeah, I would say it's very like encouraging also for us to keep going because it makes it seem like okay, what we're doing does make a difference. People are noticing. Like even to speak on like I think Beyonce, she was doing Pouncing Cat just in her past tour. Like she's been going to all these countries doing that, and even though that may not be a move that everyone notices, and it's like I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, that was in the dance we just did. So like it's really encouraging to see that like some of our moves are being taken, and then like even so, like it's also nice to see that like you can see that celebrities are also like going back to their own roots, also like using these moves that they know like are more so related to the African diaspora, and not just only doing like what they've been accustomed to like in the American tradition, but also trying to like go back and use those like specific moves and those specific trends within their own like tours and performances and such.
Great. In what ways does African contemporary dance challenging stereotypes and misconceptions about African culture?
I think that with the way that we dance, it has evolved so much. I think it's been better presented over the past, I want to say, 5 to 10 years, and it's evolved so much. You can see the different dance trends, where they come from, the people who originated them, and like Nadia said earlier, you get to understand that African dance styles isn't all traditional. I think that's one misconception that a lot of people had, that, oh, it's all just traditional, they're all wearing traditional outfits. And that's not necessarily the case. Africa is living in 2023 as well. We're still very contemporary. We're still keeping up with the times. And as times change, you can see that our styles are changing, our dance styles are changing, our art styles are changing. Afrofuturism, even as just a fine art style, is one of those things that I look at and I'm like, wow, to see how it's evolved over the past few years. Fashion, how Afrofuturism influences a lot of people's fashion styles. It's another amazing thing to see how it's evolved. So I think that the more that we showcase contemporary dance style, the more that people understand, yeah, these are people who are very talented and very of the time. It's not just all traditional. That's a very big misconception.
Right. Would you say with the traditional dances, this would open people's eyes to see that African traditional dances or African dances just doesn't focus on, rituals as it's been presented in the past, but it has an influence on what you doing now with the contemporary dance?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that it's so beautiful how diverse, not just in the way that I talk about like regionally diverse, but functionally diverse African dance can be. So of course there are the traditional dances that do serve their purposes ritualistically and have their deep-seated spiritual meanings, but there's some things that are just for fun. And sometimes it's good to know that you have that balance of this is something with a rich history, and of course the things that are just for fun today have been informed by the things with a rich history, but it's also good to know there's a thing and it's just for fun and we're just doing it on TikTok and we just want someone else, come and join me, come learn this dance. It's just something to share with others. So yeah.
And also to understand your culture, because that's another way of expressing your culture to the diaspora and let them understand that it's not the conception that you've had, the misconception that you've been fed all along.
For sure, for sure.
Could you discuss the role of technology and social media in spreading awareness and appreciation for African contemporary dance worldwide?
Yeah, I think I would say like a lot of examples of how I've seen that is definitely through like TikTok. So like there's a lot of people who do make dances on TikTok. We also try to make our own challenges at times. And obviously like even when you just click on a song and see like how many people all around the world have done it. You just see all different types of people like within the feed that have done it. You see people in like different continents that have done it. So it's not just only stretching like just to like America, but also to other continents, and just being able to see, oh, they can do it, we can do it. Also even challenges me because I'll see like, okay, this girl can do it, and like she's in a whole different continent. Like let me get it together and also be able to do that same different type of move. So I think it's definitely like been shown through social media with it just being spread everywhere. And like obviously like you when you post things, like anyone from anywhere can comment, and they're just like so just like heartened by whatever culture you're showing and like all the moves you're doing. So yeah.
Can you share a personal story or experience where African contemporary dance has bridged cultural gaps or fostered collaboration between artists from diverse backgrounds?
Excuse me. I can talk about like gaps and stuff. For me personally, like I had mentioned in the beginning, I came from Howard County, not very African dominant population, and so I'm classically trained as a ballerina. That's how I grew up. I did not touch African dance. I did not dare to touch it, which is crazy because, you know, my parents, I'm first generation in this country. And so all I did was ballet, jazz, tap, all of that, but I did not dare to touch African dance because I thought it wasn't for me. And then coming to UMD especially, and being fortunate enough to make Afro Chic dance team, I was put in connection with, you know, Karen and Mem, they're here up on stage, our teammates who are here in the audience, and then those who have already graduated from Afro Chic UMD. And so being in connection with all of these beautiful African dancers definitely brought me closer to my African heritage, because I would be lying to you if I told you that I was in tune with being a Cameroonian woman here in America before coming to college, and really coming in tune with my African heritage through African dance.
How can educators and institutions support the growth of African contemporary dance and provide opportunities for young talents to explore and develop their artistic expression? You mentioned, Nadia is your name, right? You mentioned you did ballet. You know, yes, in the universities or even in high school, you get to do dance, and it's ballet or it's tap. But now with the whole African dance and Afro beats, so how do you think our institutions can help?
I would say even as small as like reaching out, like we've had a lot of people like reach out to us to just show and showcase African dance. So like even like what we did here today, I think could also be as like used as a piece of like education. Another thing I would say is even in like the traditional like, you know, ballet classes or like dance companies, like they could also like, I know some of them have like been incorporating like, you know, like dance classes specifically cater to like African movements, or like they'll like hire like choreographers who are like specialized in African dance to come teach. So I think just like reaching out to like the resources of like people who like are well versed in those types of dance and art types of dance to come like help and like come teach. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be like a formal type of teaching where it's like slideshow, but even just like through movements and just like through teaching. So like we do workshops at our university. We actually just had one which like we invite anyone to come to, so like it also helps people even if you're not even trying to take dance seriously, like this is just something for fun. At least you can come and like learn what we do, like try to see what kind of moves are we doing, just try to learn one of our choreos. So yeah.
And then I would also say, I think it's also just as simple as providing the space. I remember, this is something that we even struggle with now a little bit being in college, but I remember in high school, it was so hard to even just find a room to practice in after school. You had to get a sponsor. You had to make sure the sponsor liked you. You had to make sure that the sponsor was willing to stay after. If you want to dance in this room, okay, this is a dance room. Well, do you have the right shoe? Okay, but if it's the right person supervise, you know, and I get it. Understand that there are a lot of things that go into it, like investment of the space and the floors and making sure that those things remain the way that they're supposed to remain. But I think providing dancers with the resources, just as studios and spaces to be able to practice their craft is really important because I was fortunate enough to be in a community where people like dancing so much that we would practice outside, wind, rain, or snow, whatever it was, we'll be outside there practicing. But everybody's not necessarily like that, and there could be situations where people can't practice outside in the wind, rain, or snow. For what whether that be for this reason or the other. So I think it's really important to provide dancers with the spaces to be able to practice their craft. And of course, like Karen said, the teachers that will help them make it so much bigger than they thought it could even go. Because there are a lot of dancers, and I'm so happy for this, to see now how dancers who were just starting up on Instagram when I was in high school are now doing huge shows incorporating all of these different dance styles, seeing how they can layer in different types of art and dance styles and experiences into their own dance styles. So I think that would have been really beneficial for me, even as a high schooler, to see, okay, this dance teacher, even though she teaches ballet, she would be a great sponsor to have to see how can I layer in this style of art into my own contemporary dance style just to elevate it and appreciate those two art styles. So yeah, providing dancers with the space and the resources that they need to be able to take it so much further than they could ever imagine and spread that culture would really be amazing.
Would you say, and what I'm hearing here, you would like to see not just universities, but high schools and even middle schools have as part of the curriculum well, when I was in school, they called it electives, contemporary African dance as part of it, because this would enable you to have the space and maybe not just the facilities, but for others to appreciate.
Yeah, for sure. I went to a STEM middle school, so my electives were like chess and robotics, and I'm not quite the chess or robotics girl. So even being in an environment like that, it was crazy because it made it feel like this is not something that we value enough to give you the space to do it. And I don't think that that should be anything that we are communicating to our young people who are growing up in the K-12 environment. They should have the opportunity to explore whatever it is that they want to explore, whether that be robotics, whether it be chess, and whether it be dance, and whether it be fine art. They should have the opportunity and the space to really explore what that is. They should have a community around them that appreciates the work that they're putting into whatever it is that their heart desires.
Can you all tell us how either your peers or a supporter can be involved in what you guys are doing in your arts, contemporary African dance art?
I would say, well, for one, our alums that have graduated from the team, they're so helpful in still connecting us to so many different opportunities. And that's really the beauty of AfroChic itself, is that our alumni are so helpful in continuing to keep us connected through the community. So AfroChic would be nothing without our alumni. And so as people graduate from uni, as they go out into the real world, still making sure to come back to the younger generations and connect them to the opportunities that we can't necessarily see just from the College Park campus. And so just making sure, and this also goes for us, being in college, making sure to connect back to our high schools and showing them, the different opportunities that the world has to offer, and to really just make sure that everyone has the knowledge and can see how far contemporary African dance can take them, because everything, even though it is excelling very fast, this is also very new to us right now. And so we definitely need all the help that we can get, and make sure that we're educating the younger generations so that as they grow up, it can be common to them. It can just be how it is. African dance is, mainstream for them. So that's just the work that we have to put in to make sure that they're set up.
Thank you. Any other comments? Well, I want to thank you, young ladies, for what you do. I want to applaud you for what you do. And I look forward to hearing more about you all and what you do. And we look forward to you knowing that you're welcome here at African Art. And also, please, ladies and gentlemen, know that this is just a little bit of what we do here at this museum, your home. And next year, we will be celebrating our 60th anniversary. And these are some of the programs you're going to see, that we're not just here on Independence, but we're trying to get into the schools. We're trying to get the word out. Get the word out that the African Art Museum, your museum on the mall, is here for you. Thank you so much.
Let me, before you leave the stage, let us just give another round of applause for Maggie and the entire team. Afro Chic, you are amazing. We really appreciated your contribution, and I would say we all learned a lot. And really, it's a respect for an art form that we want to establish and understand that it does change the narrative, and it does need to be appreciated and have its place. So we thank you for joining us. You joined us last year for something else, and we appreciate this connection. Next year is our 60th anniversary, so we hope we will be able to do more.
Definitely.
So I want to thank them and thank you, and thank you all for being part of this amazing day. We appreciate you. We appreciate all of the vendors who are upstairs who had great content. I hope that you all had a chance to visit the tables. Amazing, amazing authors and artists, creatives with really powerful content that really does change the narrative. And it's very important for us to spread the word and let people know, and really, like yourselves, have that voice, because you are the platform. And when you do it with so elegantly, so respectfully, and so confidently, it sends a message, and it changes it changes paradigm. It just changes, which is what we are here about, changing the narrative through the arts. So let's give ourselves a round of applause, and thank everyone for being part of this amazing day.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. So we'll continue. We still have the vendors upstairs and some of the painting on the second floor. And yeah, thank you for being part of this day. Thank you.
Easy.